Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the iconic Racecourse Grounds here in Sri Lanka, as the home team, the Sri Lankan Tuskers, will take on UAE in the 5th game of the Asia Rugby Emirates Men's Championship 2025. Sri Lanka, of course, they began the tournament with a very close game against South Korea, where they had the lead for an extended period of time, but unfortunately just fell short right at the end. And then UAE, of course, they have managed to beat South Korea after suffering a loss against Hong Kong in that opening encounter. And for Sri Lanka, that last encounter is a game that they'll need to forget against Hong Kong. They were hammered 78 points to 7, but here they are back in their home country, back in the ground that is very used to them to cope up with a challenge against UAE, who are trying to get that second place to advance through to the second round of the Rugby World Cup qualifiers. Here's the confirmation. It's the home team, Sri Lanka, taking on UAE in this 5th game of the Asia Rugby Emirates Men's Championship 2025. So joining with me in the comm box for this encounter is none other than Abdullah Yusuf. Good afternoon, Abdullah. This encounter is once again like a game that can actually go right down the wire.
Yes, I'm sure that's what Sri Lanka will be hoping for, because they'll be up against a very confident UAE, as you very correctly mentioned. Confidence will be sky high, and it will be a very physically, once again, Sri Lanka will be up against a very physically superior team. So tactics could be of absolute importance for Sri Lanka on how they approach this game. And you sense that if Sri Lanka can just take it into that last quarter with it being a bit close, then they do have a chance. But again, I think it could very well come down to the scrum as well, isn't it? Laxi, seen that game against Korea, that was one of the main reasons where Sri Lanka were found wanting. And once again, they will be tested. I thought that when it is Sri Lanka's scrum, that is with Sri Lanka's put in, they did reasonably well with a quick strike and the quick break by Lasindu Karunatilaka at the back ensured that the scrum doesn't have too much of an impact. But the real problem will be is when UAE has the put into the scrum. There's no doubt that they'll try and make maximum use of the weight advantage that they have in that tight five. So Sri Lanka will have to find a way to negate that, and it could very well come down to the fact that errors will have to be at the minimum, isn't it?
Exactly, Abdullah. In that South Korea encounter, Sri Lanka, from a very good position, unfortunately gave the game away to the Koreans. And as you mentioned, that Sri Lanka, I think they did understood the fact that they need to take the ball out quickly from the scrums. But if they don't do that, they'll definitely have a lot of worries in this encounter as well, because UAE, I think they had the better of South Korea in that encounter during the scrums. So Sri Lanka, they are up for the task. But UAE, as you mentioned, as you rightly mentioned, they are coming into this game with a lot of confidence. Even last year, they did manage to beat South Korea, so they have 2 wins against South Korea, back-to-back wins in the last 2 years. So UAE, they are trying to get that second spot to qualify through to the next round, where the second place Asian team will face the second place team from Africa in the next stage of the Rugby World Cup qualifiers. So they have been preparing for this moment. Now for Sri Lanka, it's about trying to spoil that dream of UAE. So let's see how things unfold.
Yes, and also I think other than that, Sri Lanka will also like to look at a bit of progress, isn't it? Now they played this year, we've already played about 6 matches. This is the 6th match that Sri Lanka has played as a team, which is probably very rare. I cannot think in my living memory where Sri Lanka has had the opportunity of playing so many matches as a Sri Lankan unit. So I'm sure they'll also look at some progress. There are a few positional changes, a few other personnel changes as well that we'll discuss a bit later. But Sri Lanka will just want to get their flow going. If they can get their rhythm going, then they do stand a chance. But again, the execution is going to be absolutely crucial. They'll want to play this game at a bit of a pace. They'll want to avoid the stop-start nature that I'm sure the UAE team will want to do. They'll probably try and control the pace. Sri Lanka, on the other hand, will just want to play the game end-to-end with a bit of pace and just try and get these big UAE forwards to move end-to-end.
Yeah, yes, Abdullah. I think UAE will definitely want to make sure that Sri Lanka don't use that very quick, fast backline of theirs in this encounter. Because even against Hong Kong, when Sri Lanka had that one little opportunity, they did manage to go all the way and score that try. And against South Korea, Sri Lanka did manage to put them under a lot of pressure with that very, very quick backline of theirs. So once again, it will come down to the fact on how well the Sri Lankan forwards perform in this encounter. So a decent crowd in at the moment here at the Racecourse Grounds. Hopefully we will be able to see a lot more coming in this encounter, because this might probably will be the last game for Sri Lanka for the rest of this year. Now this is the current points table. Hong Kong, China, of course, right on top with 2 wins in the 2 games that they have played, with 2 bonus points, 10 points for them, and they will face South Korea, who are in the 2nd place. So South Korea, if they can maybe dish out a win against Hong Kong, they will go straight to the World Cup. So that encounter between Hong Kong, China and South Korea will definitely be a game to watch out for. And then UAE in the 3rd place, they have 5 points. So now if South Korea do end up losing to Hong Kong, China, and UAE win this encounter, they will go to 2nd place, and they will get that 2nd place, which we mentioned earlier, which is very, very important when it comes to the context of this whole World Cup qualifying scenario. And Sri Lanka, unfortunately, not the place that they would have wanted them to see, but they are right at the bottom with 2 points in 2 games. Those 2 bonus points, the losing bonus points against South Korea in that first encounter.
Yes, I think Sri Lanka need not worry too much about the table. They just got to play what is in front of them. And this was the last meeting in 2011 at the CRNFC grounds. I remember going to watch this match, Laksisi. I still remember it was there was a bit of a torrential downpour as well, so the underground conditions were pretty wet, and it ended up as 13-0. But since then, compared to that team and this UAE team, I don't think you can compare. This team seems to be much more formidable. They've seemed to have really targeted this championship and trained towards that over the last 2 to 3 years. So they will be primed for this occasion. But again, it's a wonderful opportunity for Sri Lanka to show what they can do. So far, even in the Korean game, although they went down, I thought that performance was outstanding. So if they can put in another really good performance today, and who knows if they can even pull it off, it'll just give that spurt that the national program needs, isn't it? Got a very good school setup, as everyone knows. We've got a pretty decent club tournament, but just the focus on the national setup is what's lacking. So just a win here, or even a really good performance here, will probably set the platform, hopefully, for the future program, that the Tuskers will undergo in the future.
So right now we will head to a commercial break, and on the other side we'll be back with some more important information regarding this encounter between Sri Lanka and UAE. So stay tuned to this 5th game of the Asia Rugby Emirates Men's Championship 2025.
Sri Lanka's #1 betting site. Get in on the action. Unleash your winning streak. Visit sdbet.com today.
Boss, you're the one who lifted this company to where it is today, ne? Your work is so well organized and your capability really shines through it.
While you're working hard to earn your yearly bonus, save money with Commercial Bank's Power Bonus. Open an account with just 5,000 rupees and earn bonus interest every 3 months straight.
Love rugby,
Live rugby.
Prima Kotumi, fun tamai.
Cricket, horse racing, football ඇතුළු තවත් ක්‍රීඩා රැසක්. sdbet.com ලංකාවේ අංක 1 betting site එක. වැඩියෙන් play කරන්න, වැඩියෙන් win කරන්න.
මේ මොකද්ද මේ? මේ අපේ කිරි රටම පෝෂණය කරන කතාවනේ. මේ සුද්ධිද? ඔව්, මේ අපි අපේ සුද්ධිගෙන් කිරි දවනවා. ඊට පස්සේ කිරි බවුසරේ ගමක් ගාන කින් කිරි එකතු කරනවා. ඒ තමයි කොට්මලේ ෆැක්ටරි කිරි බටර් චීස් යෝගට් අයිස්ක්‍රීම් එහෙම හදන විදිය. මේ රටේම අය ඒවා කන මොන හැටි?
අපේ රටේ කිරිවලින් හදන පෝෂණය පිරි අපේම කොත්මලේ අපේ රටේ පෝෂණය.
Sri Lanka's #1 betting site. Get in on the action. Unleash your winning streak. Visit sdbet.com today.
Boss, you're the one who lifted this company to where it is today, ne? Your work is so well organized and your capability really shines through it.
While you're working hard to earn your yearly bonus, save money with Commercial Bank's Power Bonus. Open an account with just 5,000 rupees and earn bonus interest every 3 months straight.
Sri Lanka's #1 betting site. Get in on the action. Unleash your winning streak. Visit sdbet.com today.
මේ මොකක්ද මේ? මේ අපේ කිරි රටම පෝෂණය කරන කතාවනේ. මේ සුද්දිද? ඔව් මේ අපි අපේ සුද්දිගෙන් කිරි දවනවා. ඊට පස්සේ කිරි බවුසරේ ගමක් ගාන කින් කිරි එකතු කරනවා. ඒ තමයි කොට්මලේ ෆැක්ටරි කිරි බටර් චීස් යෝගට් අයිස්ක්‍රීම් එහෙම හදන විදිය. මේ රටේම අය ඒවා කන මොන හැටි?
අපේ රටේ කිරිවලින් හදන පෝෂණය පිරි අපේම කොත්මලේ අපේ රටේ පෝෂණය.
Cricket, horse racing, football ඇතුළු තවත් ක්‍රීඩා රැසක්. stbet.com ලංකාවේ අංක 1 betting site එක. වැඩියෙන් play කරන්න, වැඩියෙන් win කරන්න.
Welcome back to the Racecourse Grounds as we are minutes away from kick-off of this all-important encounter. Sri Lanka taking on UAE here at Racecourse. It's going to be a very, very interesting one as we look at Sri Lanka making their way back into the shed after the final warm-ups as we take a look at the arrival of the UAE contingent enjoying the hospitality of the island. The UAE team will be on a mission to make sure that they win this game because with that they will have an opportunity to become number 2 in the list and make sure that they keep their hopes of Rugby World Cup alive. Captain, and up next we will have Andrew Semple, the skipper of the UAE side, who had a chat with us prior to them running out. Let's hear from Andrew.
Joining with me right now is the UAE skipper Andrew. So Andrew, welcome to Sri Lanka. So an important game, a win here will take your team towards the next stage of the Rugby World Cup qualifier. So thoughts on the importance of this encounter?
Yeah, I think that was always the goal whenever we first started out in this competition. I think that we can finish second today, and that progresses us on to Ghana at the end of July and on to Repertoire in November. So that's ultimately our goal: come here, get a win, and go to the next stage.
So thoughts on the Sri Lankan team that you are facing today. Sri Lanka came very close to beating South Korea, and then you all played a very close game, hard-fought victory against South Korea. So thoughts on the Sri Lankan side?
Yeah, even going back to their game against Malaysia to come up into the championship, they're a really fast, expansive team, play really good rugby, and yeah, it's going to be a challenge for us as it has been against Korea, and even they show glimpses against Hong Kong as well. So yeah, we're up for the challenge, and we respect them and how they play, but yeah, we're here to do a job and come away with a win.
All the best for the game, Andrew.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Well, Andrew Semple, very sure about their chances as we take a look at the Sri Lankan outfit arriving at the racecourse. Couple of changes to the squad as we look at the skipper, Tarinder Ratpatte, making his way down alongside Tenukunana Kara and Primus Danishka, who's gotten a nod ahead. Sri Lanka will be wanting to make sure that they win this one, make sure that they have a big W from this competition and make sure that they are competing in this same competition come next year. That will be what they will be looking for.
Well, I think it's the same size bus that brought both teams, Sudarshana, but the UAE team need to squeeze out of that door, whereas the Sri Lankans seem to be waltzing out of it quite easily. So just shows the size difference that's going to be on show at the park. Sri Lanka also hit with injuries, migrations, as well as some sickness. There's been a few flus going around in Colombo, and Sri Lanka team has not been short of that. And let's hear what Tharindra Ratwata has to say about his team's chances.
So joining me right now is the Sri Lankan skipper Tharindra Ratwata. Tarvi, it has been a tournament of great learning for Sri Lanka. So thoughts on the road so far?
Definitely has its ups and downs. Mostly down so far. Hopefully today we can turn things around. South Korea game really taught us that we belong in this competition and we belong in this level. But then again, Hong Kong really showed us how far apart we are in terms of Hong Kong and us. So hopefully this game we look to dominate and see how fast we can show everybody again that we belong here.
So some new faces coming into the squad. An important game. Sri Lanka need to win this to stay in the top division. No, there will be another playoff game next year.
Yeah, there have been a few injuries, so we have got people that was in the squad anyway. Some couple of new faces, but that doesn't affect us in any kind of way in terms of mentality and focus. Yeah, our goal today is to win, to stay in this competition instead of being relegated next year to play again for the playoff position. So we hope to put on a good performance and bring some real flair and play some good rugby.
What are the thoughts on the UAE side?
They seem to be big, but we have we've come up with our own game plan, and we hope to counter that. Let's see how it goes.
All the best of game time.
Thank you.
Tharindra Ratwata putting on a brave face there as we look at the last few results between these two sides. In fact, it's the last encounters for UAE, and they beat South Korea just by 2 points. Sudarshana, really quick turnaround for them there as well when they played Hong Kong China. 43 points to 10 was how that one showed, and they've been playing a few rugby matches in Africa also and other parts of the world, knowing that they might get that repechage against the second place African team. 62-22 against Kenya, 26-20 against Germany, and Malaysia they managed to win fairly comfortably 62-19.
Absolutely brilliant preparation for UAE coming up to this competition before they took on Hong Kong and South Korea. Like you mentioned, Kenya did bring in a big challenge for UAE, and also that game against Germany, despite going down 20 points to 26, that would have given them a lot of confidence, especially given the fact that it was against a larger set of players. But for Sri Lanka, the preparation has been largely local.
Well, they had a couple of good hit-outs against Malaysia, who they beat by a similar scoreline, 59-19. And then, of course, that big New Zealand under-85 tour that was such a hit here in Sri Lanka. The results didn't go Sri Lanka's way, but the performances really did help give experience to this side. And unfortunately, Sri Lanka at home coming up just 4 points short against South Korea. That gave them a lot of confidence, but unfortunately, travelling away to Hong Kong, they couldn't make that confidence count. And a big reversal, but I wouldn't read too much into that scoreline, Sudarshana, because the Hong Kong forwards just completely decimated, got field position and managed to score from the set pieces using their superior weight. I don't think it's a true reflection of how competitive that game was or how competitive that game, this game is going to be when you compare the two results.
100% agreed. I think Hong Kong, China is currently in a league of its own when it comes to the Asian competition. But what Sri Lanka will take heart is the fact that the lads did turn up time and time again. So that's something that they will want to do as we take a look at the Asia Rugby previous winners. Japan, of course, not part of the Asian rugby circuit anymore because they've gone to play with the big boys. 25 titles to their name. South Korea winning it 5 times and Hong Kong, China winning it 5 times. When you look at this previous winners table, South Korea will be the most disappointed bunch out of the lot because they are the ones who haven't been able to really make a mark in that top notch.
Yeah, absolutely, Sudarshan. But the good thing for them is they yet have their fate in their own hands. It will be an uphill task for them to get the better of Hong Kong at home. So they will need to at least look at getting a bonus point for them to just continue to remain in that number 2 position. UAE on their part will probably want to try and get a good bonus point win here of their own to ensure that they are safe in terms of making that passage to the next round. But I'm sure the Sri Lankan team will have other ideas. And I think that's going to be interesting to see the tactics. Is that Shanaka, because last against Hong Kong, position was never part of, it was never in favor of Sri Lanka. But today, playing at home, with the weather we have here, wonderful running conditions, we'll just need to try and move those UAE forwards end to end and try and fatigue them out as much as possible, avoid getting to too much of the contact situations, and of course avoid scrums as much as possible.
Well, the sun, like you mentioned, Abdullah, is blaring down, so that's going to be the first hurdle UAE will look to cross, while the Emirates is a very warm and humid place as well. Most of these lads play their rugby in the afternoons under lights at about 7-8 o'clock in the night. So while the humidity is there, the sun blaring down on them is not a factor back at home. So that's something Sri Lankans will look to try and exploit. As we take a look at the Asian Championship results so far.
We had the first game here in Colombo at the racecourse, and Sri Lanka going down agonizingly short to South Korea. A couple of conversions would have seen a drawn game, which would have really affected the positions in this top tier of Asian men's competition. And then Hong Kong hosted the UAE also. In fact, UAE hosted Hong Kong at their stadium, and it was a 43 points to 10 victory for Hong Kong. They've been just a class apart in this division. And then we have South Korea taking on the UAE, another 2-point game, and what a close one that was as well in Namdong Asian Rugby Field in South Korea. And it would have been really difficult to take for the South Koreans that they couldn't beat UAE at home. And then of course we had Hong Kong taking on Sri Lanka, 78 points to 7 at the Kai Tak Youth Grounds in Hong Kong. And that was a runaway win for a devastatingly good forward pack for Hong Kong China. But as Abdullah mentioned, that 7 points that Sri Lanka scored was a spectacular 7 points. It was a really wonderful running rugby 7 points, which they will be hoping to see a lot more of today. And these fleet-footed lads will be up against some behemoths on the other side, but they still will be hoping that they will be able to run around them if they can't run through them.
Well, run around them and run through them will also be the mandate for the lads in the darker green jerseys in World Rugby. When it comes to the top tier competitions, Chanaka, these jerseys will not be allowed. 2 jerseys which are of the dark color, because what Sri Lanka is, World Rugby rather, is trying to do is to make sure that we have that it's more ideal for players, for fans who do have color blindness to enjoy the game. That's why you have a darker and a lighter jersey. So these 2 greens are not going to be allowed.
Well, that's going to be interesting. They won't be able to distinguish the shades. And we now will await the dignitaries to be introduced to the 2 teams in this top tier of Asian men's competition. Everyone, of course, playing catch-up to Japan, who have qualified for the World Cup. And Asia have the opportunity for not 1 with Japan, but 2 further teams also to go through. The winner of this will go through, and Hong Kong will be in prime position to play their first Rugby World Cup in 2027 in Australia. And this match is so important for the UAE's chances of getting 3rd place in this competition, 3rd place behind Japan and Hong Kong, and qualifying to play a repechage against the team that emerges 2nd place in qualifying from Africa. So they will still have a possibility, a technical possibility of qualifying for the World Cup. So an enormously important game for the UAE. Sri Lanka, of course, playing for pride, making sure that they come away from that bottom position ahead of South Korea. And that's what's on offer and at stake today.
There's plenty of importance in this game because, like we mentioned, Sri Lanka will be hoping to make sure that they finish 3rd, because they are returning to that 15-man format after a while, Shanak, and it's something that Abdullah, they will want to make sure that they keep continuing, because what we've seen is there has been a great interest in most of the players to represent the country. So what we need to do is to make sure that we keep competing, Sri Lanka keeps competing in the top tier come next year.
Yes, absolutely. But at the same time, we also need to be better in terms of our planning and preparation as well, isn't it? It's absolutely imperative that we give these boys the best chance of competing and being at their best against these teams, because as you can see, they're up against physically much more superior players. So a lot of planning and preparation at administrative level is very important, because what Sri Lanka have shown is probably they're a little bit above that tier 2 level. But if they are to continue to compete at this top tier level, then I think they need to be much more prepared, and a lot more planning needs to take place for them to just not compete but also succeed. And I think that should be the medium to long-term aim of Sri Lanka Rugby.
Deputy Minister of Sports and Youth joining the dignitaries, flanked by retired senior DIG Salatif, who is the chairperson of Working Task Force of Sri Lanka Rugby, being introduced to the two teams. We're talking about the World Cup in 2027 for Hong Kong. I think most of the players who have an Australian origin is going to be an interesting one, isn't it? Going back home to be able to compete in that big competition.
Certainly will be, Sudarshan, and it's going to be the pinnacle of their rugby careers. Let's not make any bones about that. They're probably not going to be much higher than that level, and Hong Kong indeed would never have thought that they'd make it to the World Cup. But you've got Japan Rugby to thank for that. The fact that they are just so good, just up there competing on their own merit and allowing a little bit of space for the rest of us here in Asia to maybe have an opportunity to go to the World Cup at some point in time. Hong Kong have led the charge. As Abdullah said, it's been the preparation, but let's stand for the anthems. Well, the anthems are done. The Sri Lankans are ready. The UAE, the visitors are ready. They know this is their best chance to get to the Rugby World Cup. And Pasindu Bandara, who scored that fantastic try against Hong Kong, will be hoping to get a few more today. But you have to say, rugby is a physical game, Sudarshana. And in physical terms, the UAE look like they are firm favourites.
Yes, especially given the fact that when you take some of the results of the previous games, UAE has been in a very good form. You can have big men on the field, but if you don't have that cohesion, it's going to be always difficult. But these lads seems like they do have that cohesion. But something that Sri Lankans will be banking on is this heat and the humidity really troubling these lads from the United Arab Emirates.
We keep saying that whenever we host a game here, Sudarshana, but we also fail to realize that Sri Lankans also do feel the heat and humidity. And you have to ask, maybe you are shooting yourselves a little bit in the foot, maybe under lights, maybe a little bit more conditioning for the Sri Lankan lads, but a couple of positional changes, and then Ukanane Akara, who is entrusted with the number 10 jersey, gets us underway.
Retreat one.
And immediately under no pressure, Hong Kong going for the safety of the touchline. UAE rather, going for the safety of the touchline.
Yes, interesting positional change for Sri Lanka. Tharinda Ratwata in his more familiar number 12 position. And he'll have Tenuka Nanayakara at number 10. It's not an entirely new combination as well. Last year in the Division 1 tournament, that pairing worked off very well. One person, of course, they will miss is Heshan Jansen in that number 9 position. It's Mohammad Rifan who has taken his place.
Listen, come close to me. Stay where you are. Time back on, please.
First line out of the game, Tirina Bandara takes it in the front, and that's going to be the story of the game as Lasindu Ishan crashes it up. Lovely tackle through following there was Vola Vola. They've managed to turn the ball over, so that's good defensive read from the UAE, who've got the ball in their hands for the first time now. Simple. Here's the dangerous Vesanau. Scored quite a few tries for this UAE outfit, but that's a good tackle by Sri Lanka in midfield. It's what we've come to expect from Janit Marasinghe in the engine room of the Sri Lanka side. Semple to his big pot of forwards. Nizran Nila with his first contact of the game, returning to the blindside flanker's berth. The absence of Lahilu Tirakaratne, but straight over the top, and the referee gives the first penalty in favour of the UAE.
UAE in early exchanges showcasing the dominance in that contact area, putting pressure on Sri Lanka, and this time around overcooking that touch finder was Jack Stepley.
Yes, it was interesting from that line out that it was Ratwata who was the first receiver. So probably there was a play that they had in mind which didn't quite work out. So the first scrum of the game going to be a real tester for Sri Lanka. Sure, it'll be a pretty quick strike, and Karuna Tilaka will probably break off from that from the back of the scrum. Wouldn't want to keep the ball in the scrum for too long.
Probably the biggest front row available for Sri Lanka. Malitha Vijayasundara, Shamika Kaushan and Vimukti Gamage. We're up against Killian, Sejon and Bernard. Giving away a few hundred kilos in the pack weights, and certainly in the at least 20 kilos a man in the front row.
Take the head. Okay, come up.
Here's Vola Vola, who made that defensive read, turned the ball over for the UAE. And this front row will be licking its lips now. So important for Shamika Kaushan to get a quick heel through to Lasindu Ishan, who's been great off the back of the scrum in this entire tournament. He's had to backpedal fairly quickly, and he's off again, placing de facto scrum half. Tharindra Ratwata puts the fend in, keeps going, and now he needs some support. Good work by the Sri Lanka skipper. But that's a nice shooting read once again from Vola Vola, who's quick off the line. Tirina Bandara once again needs to carry less from Sri Lanka's point of view. And Primesh Danushka. In fact, it's Mohammad Rifan in The back of the scrum with that little box kick fielded well by Stepley.
Penalty advantage, not rolling.
Advantage being played.
Advantage, 9.
It's a pass to nobody from Semple.
Tackle, I got to roll.
And they've got the penalty coming though, the UAE. So Sri Lanka really need to be careful on their discipline.
Yes,
I got to roll.
Yes, I think it was Nilar not releasing the tackler. It's pretty obvious. Something Sri Lanka just need to be much more accurate in defense, especially at the breakdown. Now conceded another line out on the 25.
While it's Nilar's not releasing the tackler that gave the penalty away, I'd be a little more critical about Rifan's box kick, because it didn't look like they did have a plan to attack that ball. And if you're going to give possession away to these big lads of UAE's, Sri Lanka will always be under the pump.
It's been a little bit disappointed that Coach Rodney Gibbs hasn't been able to address that particular area of the game. He's got plenty to do, especially in maul defense. But the Sri Lankan wingers really need to get up and make a nuisance of themselves if they are to avoid this happening to their forwards. We expected this all day, and Sri Lanka have done well to splinter, and they might even have come away with the ball here. No, they haven't. Vesanawa drives. Here's Bradley James, strong in the tackle. It looks like it's going to be a matter of time now for the UAE with these big boys. Another penalty coming. That's 3 in a row, but they won't need it as they go. James Stepley is the man who steps his way over for the try. And you could see that coming from the moment that penalty was conceded and the line out was won. Sri Lanka's forwards in complete disarray, the defensive line disintegrated, and from then on it was just bash your way over the line from close range.
Well, Sri Lanka made to pay for indiscipline when it comes to defensive work. Got to be very, very careful, because they've gotten on the notice of the referee. He will have a close eye on them when it comes to defensive time. And these big lads getting their hydration in, and UAE getting a big advantage in the 6th minute of the game.
Conversion is successful by Max Johnson. So UAE draw first blood, 7 points to 0. And again, Shanak, it just comes down to discipline, isn't it? It all started off with Nilar not releasing the tackle at that breakdown. The UAE team, no hesitation, putting into touch, used the driving maul to good effect to create a platform for them to get their first try.
Well, they were lucky with the first penalty, but no mistake by the UAE with their second one. And this is where Sri Lanka need to camp in the UAE half. Plenty of time for Andrew Semple, the scrum half, to thump this one into touch, and they'll look to attack from the line out. The UAE try and get a defensive read on Tilina Bandara, who is quite obviously the only target that Sri Lanka have. Here's the big Marcus Guerin, who will be the chief jumper. They go to the back now. Shamika Kaushan, that's beautifully done by the Sri Lankans in the line out. Again, they go to Lasindu Ishan, but he's isolated in centre field. Rifan does well to get there, but it's a pass that is very inaccurate. No space, but Dinale Kanayaka ducks under a few tackles. It's a good carry from Sri Lanka. Rifan appealing, but nothing is coming his way, and looked like it might have been a bit of a cynical play there by the UAE player.
Yeah, the referee happy to just award the penalty. As you take a look here, Rifan wanted for it, but seems like got his screw wrong there momentarily, but Tarindra Rathod duly complies to bring play forward by close to 30 meters.
Whatever little wind there is, it looks like United Arab Emirates have it at their back at the moment.
That's fine. That's fine.
And this is the part of the field that Sri Lanka would want to continue to play in. They go to the back this time to Nizran. Last to Ishan, they were up on him pretty quickly. They've probably watched tapes of Sri Lanka and known that he is the dangerous ball carrier. Rifan. Again, Tilina Bandara. And the UAE line was up too quickly for the referee's liking. Straight through the middle they go. And again, Rifan. They've got some space now. Smashing in on the nice angle was Akash Madhushan.
All good here.
But no
Flag 5 offside.
advantage coming, so they will come back for the offside.
Yes, that's much better by Sri Lanka.
11 black offside.
Good thing is they were getting over the gain line. So managing to get some good quick ruck ball. Asking questions of the UAE defense and managing to get a penalty.
Come off, please.
So decision time here for Sri Lanka. Will they take the points on offer, or will they go to the touch?
Mentioned in pre-match. Nothing after whistle. Make sure you have a word. If not, I need to deal with it. Okay?
Well, they've signaled for points.
Yep.
Tarendra Rathod will want to make sure that he
Offside
tries
and then
and
short
gets
cord.
all the points
3 points,
from
short
this
cord.
kicking team, because last time they played here, Tarinder had the opportunity to try and draw the game, but unfortunately 2 kicks that went astray resulted in Sri Lanka finishing 38 points to 34, 4 points behind.
Guys, when you come in, just slow it down a little bit.
He's asked to do a lot of work in that game. He's playing fly half and carrying the ball a lot. Today he's at number 12 in that favoured position of his. And straight over it goes, no problems at all. Sri Lanka open scoring here at the Racecourse Stadium on the final match weekend of this Asia Rugby Emirates Men's Championship. Winner takes a place at RWC 2027, and if UAE win this game, they will advance to a repechage against the African qualifiers. That's better from Sri Lanka, Abdullah, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. I think that's the way they'd want to play the game. Get over the gain line. And got to be a quick ruck ball as well, as UAE restarts proceedings. Collected by Gowda, who finds touch just about 30 meters away from the Sri Lankan goal line.
Yeah, interesting change from Sri Lanka, moving Adam Gowda to that number 15 position, bringing in Tenuk Nanakare to the first 5-8 position, which allows Tarinder Rathod to play his preferred number 12 position.
It's about horses for courses for Coach Gibbs. Fortunately for him, his first choice, Murshid Zubair, has been sick and wasn't really able to train as much as he would have. But again, Wesenau smashes through that tackle, and is another big lad brought down by Tilina Bandara in the end. But attacking the fringes once again, and UAE over. This physical dominance is going to prove really difficult for Sri Lanka if they keep giving away field position. They thought they had that line out, but again it was untidy. You've got to fight for every single ball that's on the floor. And for the moment, the UAE are the ones who are scrapping harder.
Bradley Jones that time, the deputy skipper of UAE, touching down. Clear physical dominance, isn't it, around that 5-meter area, really dominating the defenders from Sri Lanka, and second try for UAE in quick succession. Opportunity for May Johnson to put in the extras.
So a couple of tries within the first 13 minutes for UAE. Johnson with his second conversion attempt. Strikes it well, but goes across the uprights. So score will remain 12 points to 3. You just send Shanaka along with position. The territorial game is also going to be important for Sri Lanka. They don't want to play too much rugby in their own half. There's some point in this game where they'll have to take a bit of chances and just try and keep the ball even when they are in their 22, just try and create something, because whenever position is being turned over, this UAE team thus far have looked pretty much unstoppable.
Well, they've got to start running, Abdullah, and when I saw that touch kick from Adam Gardo, I was wondering whether that should have been the first option. But this is where they've got to make sure that they have options on the other side of the pitch. Make sure those long passes go across, play some sevens rugby across the back three. That's a little bit untidy from both Tenukanane Akara and Marcus Guerin. Semple with the big box kick. Taken easily. This time Tenukanane Akara is the man who carries it up. Sri Lanka with a little bit of ball. Rifan. One out running isn't going to be what Sri Lanka need. And here's Mohammad Rifan once again with that box kick. But nobody really chasing it up to take advantage of that knock-on. And Semple dropping that ball cold. Sri Lanka will have an attacking scrum.
Yes, I think Rifan needs to get a bit more height on his base kicks if he's going to give his chasers a chance of putting any pressure. Fortunately for Sri Lanka, the UAE scrum off, spilling the ball pretty...
very good last scrum, is like that. Take the hit, hit
disappointingly, as some of those reactions we can see from the stand show. So another come from Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka's first attacking scrum, but the tactic won't be too different. Karunatilaka off the back.
Set.
He's probably going to be the story of the afternoon. Here it is as he passes it on to Mohammad Rifan. Another first phase ball. Dinale Kanayaka trying to dance his way through, but the gap closing pretty quickly. Marasinghe. Quick ball for Sri Lanka. Good work now on the floor. Still available for Sri Lanka. This is good continuity. Ball well collected by Akash Madhushan. Shows and goes, but he will need some help. Straight over the top is the call from the referee. So it's both knees on the floor is the call.
There was a clear side entry though from on this side of the field. It'll be interesting to see because Lasit Karunatilaka that time guilty of having both knees on the floor. Sealing that ball was the call from referee, but there was very good continuity shown from Sri Lanka with ball in hand.
Yes, once again, a little bit of indiscipline creeping into Sri Lanka. They've just got to be squeaky clean at the breakdown, isn't it? Shanaka just don't want to give the referee any excuse whatsoever for blowing a penalty against them.
Be interested to see that breakdown once again, just in a little bit of a slower motion, to see where Lasindu Ishan left his feet.
Captain, 9. Start feeling that you stop a lot, okay? This will be the last one, okay? Unless it's serious injury, I don't stop, okay? Make sure I ask him to hurry up, please.
So
yeah, there will be a water break now, not yet, soon.
Referee telling the UAE team that he's not going to stop the game unless there's a serious injury.
Please, let's set up. Where you are. Okay. Come back on, please. Taken back in by White. Play on.
Again, the ball is available and Ratwata has no option but to kick. It's a good kick though, and now the chase needs to be good. Smashing off was nice out, and it's dropped forward.
2 knock on. First one by Black. Same by what?
Nice out, making an initial bust but not able to control the ball.
Yes, it's interesting that that's a second occasion when Sri Lanka were under a bit of pressure at line-out time. They managed to steal it, so they seem to be reading the UAE line-out pretty well. On that occasion, they managed to retrieve possession and clear their lines, unlike the previous occasion when the ball went back into the UAE players' hands.
Yeah, that's why I just said to you, front row, stay in.
It's a good tackle in the end there. Tracking back.
Nice out that time with the carry, but opportunity now for Sri Lanka to create something from here. Quick ball will be what they are looking for. Karnatilaka to Tarinder Ratwate, who decides to run.
Straight through goes Ratwate. He finds a man on the inside. This is space. He's going all the way. Mohammad Rifan goes for the spectacular dive instead of the under the post, but his captain will convert this for Sri Lankan fans. You can see Coach Dushant Lucas saying that's what we want to do. Superb break by the skipper. Rifan finishing it off. And is this where Sri Lanka start coming back into this game?
Brilliant stuff, absolutely brilliant stuff. Lasidu Karnatilaka just at the scrum asked from Tarinder, is he coming to you? And Tarinder said yes. Breaks through, half-hearted attempt from Semple, who were expecting Ratwate to offload, but then Rifan running that supporting line on the outside shoulder of Tarinder Ratwate should have cut inside and make the conversion a little bit more easier for his skipper, but wanted to put in that picturesque dive. Ratwate with an opportunity to make it a 2-point game with this conversion. Takes in a couple of big ones. Good connection by him, and it's through as the crowd confirms. 10 points to 12, and referee blowing for the break to get in some hydration.
Well, it's a 1-minute water break and it's only 2 points in it. Remember that Korea and the UAE were in a 2-point game. Sri Lanka and South Korea were in a 4-point game. And this is going to go down to the wire, ladies and gentlemen. While Sri Lanka have conceded those 2 early tries to the bulk and power of this UAE pack, there is a conditioning element to this game. And it will remain to be seen whether the UAE can keep up with this speedy set of Sri Lankans if they manage to get their tactics right, Abdullah.
Yeah, that's right. And you could sense the referee communicating with the UAE players that he wants the game to be moving a bit as well, isn't it? So it's probably a bit of communication from the Sri Lankans, how they were just keeping the referee on alert that to be aware of how the game needs to progress, and whether there's any unwanted or unnecessary stoppages that could take place. But a timely score for Sri Lanka. They really needed that try just before the first end of the first quarter, because 2 unanswered tries going to this quarter would have been a little bit difficult for Sri Lanka to take.
Interestingly enough, the host being equipped with wet towels, but the visitor seems to have missed that trick. The conditions are always going to be very, very difficult for anybody traveling in, even for the host team. Scorching sun here at the capital of Sri Lanka.
Wonder if you'll get a bad review on TripAdvisor for no towels being provided there, Sudarshana. But it's a really important moment in the game, because the heat clearly has affected the UAE team. They've been slowing things down. They've been asking for water. So this is where Sri Lanka really need to capitalize before halftime, before the replacements come onto the field. And the good thing for Sri Lanka also, they've got 2 of their most creative players on the bench, Zumri and Zubair. Both those guys coming off the bench could spark something. Max Johnson with the long clearance to Adam Gowda. And they really need to make sure they compete for this line out, Sri Lanka, because this is where they conceded from.
This line-out's going to be absolutely crucial, and Sri Lanka have so far managed to really put them under pressure.
It's okay. 5.
5-man line-out being called by the UAE. Sri Lanka looking to put pressure, and this is an area that they really need to focus.
It's again untidy ball for Sri Lanka, for the UAE. The line-out has been a bit of a shambles for UAE at the moment.
First, scrum white.
And it will be scrum Sri Lanka ball. Bit of untidiness on the floor. And Sri Lanka finally seemed to have just recovered from that initial fright of being smashed in the scrum and smashed in the contact. They have recovered now. They've got their second win. And they're going toe-to-toe.
And also it's taking a toll on the lads from UAE. Sri Lanka very happy to make sure that they put their best foot forward. Now with Marasinghe looking like a pirate with an eye patch, we'll want to make sure he has impressed even with some of the more physical sides. He will want to make sure that he continues his impressive form in that national jersey. Rifan going on the short side. Rifan still going. Needed support. That's a high tackle on Mohammad Rifan and straight away penalty. There is no mitigation. Rifan is a short lad. And it'll be interesting to see whether it'll be referred to the TMO to adjudicate whether there is a card that comes in the mix.
Well, he was clearly through the line. And he was probably the last defender to come in there. It's interesting to see whether there was a lot of cover. Let's watch it here. Straight through goes Rifan. And there is the fullback to beat though. But the fullback was coming across. Or at least the cover defense was coming across. Just a one man to beat. So whether that was a clear try scoring opportunity will be the debate that the TMO has. Hasn't been referred though for Tharindra Ratwatta to maybe take the lead in this game unexpectedly given the way it started.
Important spot kick for the skipper from Sri Lanka. Can bring Sri Lanka 1 point up here, 13-12. No problem from the Sri Lankan skipper as Sri Lanka goes 13 points to 12 in front.
Perfect off the tee so far. Tharindra Ratwatta, the Sri Lankan captain, making sure that he's going to make sure every drop off the tee counts. So Sri Lanka in the lead in the 23rd minute of this game. Got to run this ball back now. They've been kicking it deep to Adam Gowda. Have they realized that there is a little bit of space? It's inside the 22 and it's a decent clearance from Gowda, which is it's not his preferred position. Likes to play in the centres. I'm wondering if there's a little bit of space or a trick they're missing, Abdullah, by not going to the further side of the field off that.
6.
Yes, seems to be a safety first attitude, but it'll be interesting to see, Shanaga. Now it's 3 consecutive lineouts that Sri Lanka have managed to spoil. So maybe they are confident that they can cause more problems to this lineout. Let's have a look. This time though, clean collection. UAE, no doubt, we look to keep it tight.
Entry, white 5.
Referee has his hand out for an advantage. Side entry is the call.
5 white, side entry. 5 white, entry.
Be nice to see that maul being set up again, and watch for a double bank there on Emosi Vesana'au. Whether it was in front of the ball carrier there, it would be nice if our production crew could show us that setup.
Make sure, teammate, if you want to entry from the gates, not from the side. Okay?
They'll be interested to see if we can take a look at that line out again as UAE. Take a look at this. Didn't seem like there was a side entry there, but the referee penalizing the man who came on the other side of that truck, mall rather.
Well, just a few seconds further back would have helped, but we'll carry on with live action here. Well, no prizes for guessing what's coming here, but Thilina Bandara does really well to spoil that ball and prevent the setting up.
Use it.
Sri Lanka will have to defend their line desperately now not to concede the lead that they've held for all of about 3 minutes.
All good there. No advantage from the knock-on.
Well, good work there, tackling that ball near Nizar, but no advantage from the line out, where Thilina Bandara managed to get his hand on that ball. As we take a look at the VVIPs.
Now this is going to be interesting, gents. I think it's the first scrum of UAE's. They are feeding. It's about 5 meters away from the goal line. So will they opt for a 8-man shove? As we have a look at again, some good spoiling work by Bandara, unfortunately. Just going forward.
Well, UAE certainly taking plenty of water on board. Lots of stoppages as well in this game. I'm sure there must be an injury or something, because the referee was very strict on making sure that there will be no stoppages. Can't really see an injured player though. Crowd probably know what's happening. The referee finally waking up to the fact that match needs to go on.
Let's go, come up please. Yeah, I was saying on this. Yep, right, come up.
25th minute on the clock as we see Ratwate Senior
Take the hit.
having a very eager eye on the proceedings. Very proud father to see his offspring skippering Sri Lanka here.
Crouch.
We can see MOC Wesanaua
Fine.
getting set at the back of the scrum. He'll want to walk this one over. And that's a really good scrum from Sri Lanka. Wesanaua goes off the back, but held well by Nisrandila in the initial couple of steps, not allowing him to get ahead of steam. Andrew Semple looks for his spot of forwards. And that's a good bit of defense from Sri Lanka. Tarindu Chaturanga, it is trademark grass cutter tackles. He rolls and he's back up in the defensive line. Here's a little bit of space.
Take a now, release White.
It was an interesting one where one of the UAE players ran behind his own man. Wesanaua tries for the second time now. Semple, slow ball for the UAE. Sri Lanka flying up and making the hit. Semple looking back to the side that he came from. There he goes again. And now a little bit of space opening up for Stepley. Stepley just unable to get through. Fingertip tackle saves the day.
Some incredible work by the Sri Lankan defense. Clearly, physically, the less advantaged team, and they really put their heart and body on the line defending that. You can see the slowing down of the UAE forwards, the intensity reducing as well.
That's exactly why Sri Lanka really need to do the opposite now, Sudarshan. They've got to get in the referee's ear and tell him, look, so we want to play, we want to play, we want to play, and just start running from everywhere. They've just got to play, start playing tap raga now.
UAE, on the other hand, will want to try and control this. They will want to try and keep it close to each other. Don't let the ball spread wide as Sri Lanka goes to number 6.
Tirina Bandar with a lovely take at the back of the scrum. Janit Marasinghe, they try to hold him up. And there's another penalty conceded by Sri Lanka, unfortunately, and this is where they've got to be better, Abdullah. They've conceded penalties in midfield way too many times already.
Yes, they have, unfortunately, just a bit too slow to that breakdown. Probably that initial contact Marasinghe slightly upright, so just not being able to hit the deck quick enough. And some good work at the breakdown, you'd have to say. Now this is interesting, Shanaka. Probably a moral victory for Sri Lanka. UAE going to the post, unlike they did previously. It's just about 42 meters, but dead straight. So May Johnson trying to regain the lead for his team.
UAE though playing points, and that's what you need to do to make sure that you have numbers. James Crossley with the long ranger and has the legs and the direction.
No problem there. Plenty more where that came from Max Johnson. And you can see that it's a moral victory for Sri Lanka, though, that they didn't go for touch. Gone for the lead instead. So you can see that they know they're in a match. Probably came here expecting to overrun a smaller pack, but Sri Lanka, at least in this first half an hour, have shown that they're here to play too. Tenukananayakkara with a long kick off into the 22.
Up, stop.
Semple. Got to take it quickly. Adam Gowda does exactly that. And massive high tackle again from the UAE. Lucky to get away with the first one without a card. But will we see one here?
Seems like the referee is happy with a penalty only. Looked quite high on the advancing player.
Will be good to see the replay.
And 7 left. Yeah.
Penalty and a line out in favor of Sri Lanka. This is going to be a very crucial one. Kaushan Bandar combination has worked very well for Sri Lanka so far.
Well, they go to the back and they win it nicely. Straight through goes Nisran Nila. He didn't transfer the ball, so he was perfectly all right. Oh, knock on the floor is the call from the referee. Oh dear, oh dear. Nisran Nila will contest that one.
Well, Niral, that time the opposition did not bind, so he could not transfer it. But Niral, I believe, did not expect for them to go through like that.
A good presence of mind for him to hold on to the ball there. And I was just so surprised that he went through the gap that he knocked the ball on the floor. So pressure scrum for the UAE. But the flankers need to make sure that they need to shove and not be too eager to put the kicker under pressure. That's Rifan's job.
Set.
Sri Lanka need an 8-man scrum. They've been pretty good so far.
Penalty advantage.
You know they've got the penalty, so they're going to run. Jumping over that tackle. Semple. The cross kick. Dinale Kanayaka going back and the ball bouncing into touch. But they will come back for the penalty.
While Sri Lanka did succumb to that penalty, it was nice to see the height at which they were engaging in that scrum, Shanaka. Massive improvement from the last couple of times that we've seen them, but UAE obviously the bigger side out of the two, really managing to put pressure on Sri Lanka and dominate them in scrum time.
Well, you can see what the referee was saying. He said the loose head unbinding under pressure. And what was important there is for Nisran Nila, who was on the loose head side of the scrum, to really make sure he shoved the loose head prop back in. Malitha Vijayasundara would have given him a lot of thanks for just making sure his hip doesn't come away and concede that penalty. And this is where Sri Lankan third rowers really need to understand their role in the scrum, especially in a position like that. Nisran's head popping up so early, Sudarshan.
This is never a 5-man exercise, but an 8-man exercise. Now UAE is setting it up.
This is going to be where they like to play their rugby. Comfortable in the tight stuff. And that's great work by Sri Lanka.
It is a more unplayable scrum.
Brilliant. This will just give them so much confidence.
Bring him down.
Just can't fault the effort of the Sri Lankan 8, putting everything into it. Just like the three, the Sri Lankans running a bit more directly at this UAE defensive line.
Take a look at that, searching for that ball from behind. Tilna Bandar goes right in and then gets his hands on that player. All the right to that ball, and Bernard had absolutely no right to lift Tilna Bandar up, but impressive work from Sri Lanka.
Yeah, taking the lower body of a player in the maul, very, very dangerous. I'm surprised that a check has probably not come in.
Set.
Rian Bernard, a very dangerous player there. Lashindu Ishan again playing the de facto scrum half role. Beautiful work from Sri Lanka. Adam Gowda managing to get it away for Dina Lekanayaka, but he's well pincered by two UAE defenders. Vola reading that beautifully. Good work from Nasser Vua. Lovely little offload, and the grubber kick is through. Tilida Bandara is a man going back. The big second row has to get down, doesn't do it well enough. And fortunately for Sri Lanka, the ball sliding off the hands of Rifan and into touch.
Yes, some brilliant work by the Fijian
no contact in the
flanker.
air, leave the hands alone, please.
Imosi Bahunua at that breakdown. Sri Lanka just a little bit late in arriving, and UAE managing to turn that ball, put Sri Lanka under pressure and win a line out just 5 meters away from their try line.
Well, it's a writing on the wall for the Sri Lankan defense. It's a really terrible line out.
Knock on.
Oh well, nobody wanted it.
Over, but it's knock on. Therefore, scrum here, black ball.
But once again, an unforgivable mistake from the Sri Lankans. The UAE line out is in absolute shambles.
Back here, please. Let's go.
But Sri Lanka doing nothing to exploit it.
Firstly, backwards by you guys, and then knock it on the floor. Right, let's go, please. UAE, let's go. Come.
It's two knock-ons on the floor that have undone Sri Lanka.
Massive scrum coming up here, 5 meters away. Will the Sri Lanka 8 be able to withstand what will inevitably be a 8-man shove?
Walter had Moeneb Gallant going in place of Mikhail Sejon
Going that way. I
in
want
the
you to
hooker's
wait,
position.
stay there. Okay, let's go. Okay.
So Gallant in the center of that front row for UAE.
Yep. Thank you.
And once again, pretty slow going from everyone concerned. Sri Lanka not really showing the urgency that they need.
Crouch. Bind. Sit.
It's really good scrum from Sri Lanka. Really well done from the much lighter Sri Lankan pack. Here they go off the back, and it's a bounce ball, trying to get one-on-one to Vola, and he's over. And that's the try once again from Sakiyasu Naisau. Made that out of absolutely nothing. Sri Lanka's defense disintegrating towards the tram lines, and the two Fijians combining there to get over.
Two UAE players of Fijian origin, brilliant work. The two wingers. Take a look at this. Vola
I got time is over.
marking the man and puts in a little dink, and then
After the kick is half time.
Sakin Nisau touching down. No problem, but big heart shown by the Sri Lankan 8, not making it a pushover try. And the UAE has the last laugh of the first 40.
Yes, a wonderful bit of skill, you'd have to say, because there was basically nothing on there. Sri Lanka defensively seemed to have that covered, but just that wonderful grubber forcing the Sri Lankan defense to turn around, and just not enough for Isam to go over for another try. The conversion is successful as well.
Reset 1 minute.
So as we approach halftime, it's 22 points to 13. And once again, it's just unfortunate that Sri Lanka are unable to get into the correct positions consistently enough, isn't it? Just been unable to do that, and that's probably why we see the scoreline as it is. And it's mostly come about by Sri Lanka's errors to a great extent.
Yes, and that's the disappointing thing, isn't it, Abdullah? It's not like they've been outplayed by this much bigger, much stronger UAE team. They've just made some really unforced errors, which have allowed them back into the side. And here's Semple. And that's the penalty. Tarindu Chaturanga is a man over the ball. Holding on is the call, and
shot called.
They will take the shot to try and get within 6 points on the stroke of half time. It's a sensible call, the only one that needed to be made for sure. But Sri Lanka will be desperate for these points just before the half.
Yes, wonderful bit of work by Tarindu Chaturanga at that breakdown. Got himself into a good base and stayed strong. Wonderful strength by the pin-sized flanker. He's been brilliant for Sri Lanka throughout this series. Now an opportunity for Ratwata to just narrow this lead going into half-time. No problem whatsoever. So that will be half-time. Sri Lanka trailing by 16 points to 22. But it's been a wonderful effort. Just Sri Lanka on certain occasions their own worst enemy, conceding penalties and allowing the UAE outfit to get into positions where they can use their strength and power to good effect. But still everything to play for in the second half.
Certainly are. Just 6 points in it. And with the bench to come on and unleash some more firepower for the UAE. Few creative players on the bench for Sri Lanka as well. Will we see them come to the fore in this second half? Will there be early substitutions by the coaches? What will Rodney Gibbs do? What will Jacques Bernard do? Let's wait and see when we come back in this Asia Rugby Emirates Men's Championship. It's 22-16 to UAE at halftime at the racecourse.
Unleash your winning streak. Visit sdbet.com today.
Boss, you're the one who lifted this company to where it is today, ne? Your work is so well organized and your capability really shines through it.
While you're working hard to earn your yearly bonus, save money with Commercial Bank's Power Bonus. Open an account with just 5,000 rupees and earn bonus interest every 3 months straight.
Cricket, horse racing, football and තවත් ක්‍රීඩා රසක්. sdbet.com ලංකාවේ අංක 1 betting site එක. වැඩියෙන් play කරන්න, වැඩියෙන් win කරන්න.
Rugby.
Live rugby.
Prima Kotumi. Fun tamai.
Sri Lanka's #1 betting site. Get in on the action. Unleash your winning streak. Visit sdbet.com today.
මේ මොකද්ද මේ? මේ අපේ කිරි රටම පෝෂණය කරන කතාවනේ. මේ සුද්ධිද? ඔව් මේ අපි අපේ සුද්ධිගෙන් කිරි දවනවා. ඊට පස්සේ කිරි බවුසරේ ගමක් ගානකින් කිරි එකතු කරනවා. ඒ තමයි කොට්මලේ ෆැක්ටරි කිරි බටර් චීස් යෝගට් අයිස්ක්‍රීම් එහෙම හදන විදිය. මේ රටේම අය ඒවා කන මොන හැටි?
අපේ රටේ කිරිවලින් හදන පෝෂණය පිරි අපේම කොත්මලේ අපේ රටේ පෝෂණය.
Sri Lanka's #1 betting site. Get in on the action. Unleash your winning streak. Visit sdbet.com today.
Boss, I got you some homemade milk toffee. Shall I bring it now? You know, no matter what others say, you are really important to us. I have never seen anyone care about the company as much as you do.
While you're working hard to earn your yearly bonus, save money with Commercial Bank's Power Bonus. Open an account with just 5,000 rupees and earn bonus interest every 3 months straight.
Cricket, horse racing, football ඇතුළු තවත් ක්‍රීඩා රැසක්. stbet.com ලංකාවේ අංක 1 betting site එක. වැඩියෙන් play කරන්න, වැඩියෙන් win කරන්න.
මේ මොකද්ද මේ? මේ අපේ කිරි රටම පෝෂණය කරන කතාවනේ. මේ සුද්ධිද? ඔව් මේ අපි අපේ සුද්ධිගෙන් කිරි දවනවා. ඊට පස්සේ කිරි බවුසරේ ගමක් ගාන ගිහින් කිරි එකතු කරනවා. ඒ තමයි කොට්මලේ ෆැක්ටරි කිරි බටර් චීස් යෝගට් අයිස්ක්‍රීම් එහෙම හදන විදිය. මේ රටේම අය ඒවා කන මොන හැටි?
අපේ රටේ කිරිවලින් හදන පෝෂණය පිරි අපේම කොත්මලේ අපේ රටේ පෝෂණය.
Cricket, horse racing, football ඇතුළු තවත් ක්‍රීඩා රැසක්. stbet.com ලංකාවේ අංක 1 betting site එක. වැඩියෙන් play කරන්න, වැඩියෙන් win කරන්න.
Love Rugby.
Live Rugby.
Prima Kotumi. Fun Tamari.
Boss, I got you some homemade milk toffee. Shall I bring it now? You know, no matter what others say, you are really important to us. I have never seen anyone care about the company as much as you do.
While you're working hard to earn your yearly bonus, save money with Commercial Bank's Power Bonus. Open an account with just 5,000 rupees and earn bonus interest every 3 months straight.
Cricket, horse racing, football ඇතුළු තවත් ක්‍රීඩා රැසක්. stbet.com ලංකාවේ අංක 1 betting site එක. වැඩියෙන් play කරන්න, වැඩියෙන් win කරන්න.
මේ මොකද්ද මේ? මේ අපේ කිරි රටම පෝෂණය කරන කතාවනේ. මේ සුද්ධිද? ඔව් මේ අපි අපේ සුද්ධිගෙන් කිරි දවනවා. ඊට පස්සේ කිරි බවුසරේ ගමක් ගානකින් කිරි එකතු කරනවා. ඒ තමයි කොට්මලේ ෆැක්ටරි කිරි බටර් චීස් යෝගට් අයිස්ක්‍රීම් එහෙම හදන විදිය. මේ රටේම අය ඒවා කන මොන හැටි?
අපේ රටේ කිරිවලින් හදන පෝෂණය පිරි අපේම කොත්මලේ අපේ රටේ පෝෂණය.
And then Sri Lanka hitting back with a penalty of their own. And a lovely fend here. Unexpected burst from Tarinder Ratwata for the UAE defence, and Mohammad Rifan didn't make the conversion any easier, but it didn't matter because Ratwata knocked it over. And here was another penalty attempt, high tackle, deemed not worthy of a card by the referee, even though Rifan was well past the line break. And Ratwata getting the lead for Sri Lanka there, and superb defence in the end for the Lankans, getting over that ball. Tarindu Chaturanga has made some terrific steals, and a thumping kick by Max Johnson to get the lead back for the UAE before they scored this try. Beautiful bit of combinations from Naisau and Vola Vola, the two UAE players, combining with that little grubber, just beating Adam Gowda for pace to get into the corner there. And another from the kickoff of that try. Some good work from Tarindu Chaturanga gives the game a one-score flavour. 22 points to 16.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see what respective coaches would have spoken to both teams about. I'm sure the UAE lads would want to try and slow the pace of the game as much as possible, while Sri Lanka will definitely look to try and up the tempo on their part. I think they just got to avoid getting into too many stop-starts, too many set pieces as far as possible. Keep the ball in play.
This is what Tarinder Ratwata will want to get in the referee's ear early on. Nicely taken that time by Tirina Bandara, who has been excellent. UAE's defensive line after that, fresh after that rest, and they're really smashing straight through. And the bench is on as well. Matt Mills making a difference. Rifan has borrowed under there like a miner to try and get the ball. He's put the big kick up, but it's well covered that time, and the ball going into space. Max Johnson losing his footing. Tarinder Ratwata over the ball, but unable to steal it that time. And UAE under pressure. Will try to put this one into touch, but they'll get an attacking line out in the 22. So good pressure from Sri Lanka early doors.
Yes, much better kick from the base by Rifan. Giving it much more air. Giving his chasers time to get up. And forcing that error from UAE from the ensuing breakdown. This area where Sri Lanka has really dominated. Once again, no problems.
Ball inside the 5.
It's a very well constructed maul. Sri Lanka trying to gain a bit of ground. Close to the touchline, need to be a bit careful.
Coming away from that was Shamika Kaushan, and now a little bit of space opening up. Akash Madhushan puts a little short ball through to Adam Gowda, the biggest of the Sri Lankan backs, but he's held up well by Jack Stepley.
Take her now. Let it come.
Stepley does well to get out of the way, and Mara Singha. Straight over the ball was Matt Mills, and pretty sure that Tarinder Ratwata will point to the posts here.
Yeah, there was ruck formed, and Sri Lanka managing, going for a cross kick opportunity, and that's going to be the try. Sri Lanka touching down 21-22 with the conversion to come. Tarinder Ratwata did not point at the post but went across the ground.
What brilliant thinking from Ratwata and the Little bit of communication between Lasinda Vishan Karunatilaka and his skipper, the vice captain and captain combining for Sri Lanka. And it looked for a while that the ball might just get away from Lasinda Vishan, but he managed to dive on it just in time. And the assistant referee, Sunny Lee, on this corner had no hesitation in putting her thumb high in the air. And that was a brilliant bit of work from the two senior men on the Sri Lanka team.
Shanak, I believe that Shamika Kaushan who touched down, because there is no mohawk on display when he dived down. That's Shamika Kaushan, yes, in that number 2 jersey. Seems like he's put on some bulk, and beautiful collection. Gets in the try for Sri Lanka, just what the doctor ordered for the host team. Opportunity for the skipper to get them into the lead.
Conversion just goes away, but brilliant bit of thinking by Sri Lankan skipper, and also Kaushan, have to say, has been brilliant today, isn't it? His line out throwing has been on spot. There are force hooker putting on a real shift in for his team today, as we have a look at that wonderful cross kick by Ratwata. Wonderful awareness by the hooker as well. Did brilliantly well to gather that ball cleanly and go over.
Akash Pradushan hasn't had a lot of running to do today, but takes that into contact. Rifan will look for his left-footed box kick. And Semple manages to get the ball away, and this is where the danger man comes into play. Vola Vola. Hands on the floor is the call, which was why the Sri Lankan jackler wasn't rewarded there. Jack Stepley moves the ball across, and here's Gallant through the legs ball, and this is the danger man Sakiyusu Naisau, and getting across and making an important interception that time.
You're running backwards to teammates in front of you. Forward pass.
Oh, interesting call there from the referee. Let's try and see where that forward pass was.
Very interesting call there. The entire local.
For me, is flat, and then your player win the ball, and your player is always in front. Forward pass. Right, scrum.
Tarendra Rathod wanted to have a word and reconfirm that. Here's the replay.
Maxi, come here.
That was what Tarendra protested, but let's come back to live action.
Straight.
Well, that we'll have to have another look at that forward pass when we get an opportunity. But there's been a change.
You're on the mark, but your player leaning
with Sam Bullock on in the number 23 jersey at halfback.
On the side, make sure to stay up straight.
The 42-degree temperatures in the UAE summer will be well matched for the amount of humidity that is present here in the Sri Lankan summer.
Fine.
Great height from the UAE 8. But Sri Lanka have done well to hold on, and they're now scrumming for a penalty. Still going. And that's good technique.
Moving forward, but
Yeah, reset ordered by the referee. UAE moving forward, but the entire front row standing up. So again, kudos to Sri Lanka. They are put under pressure by a much larger physical unit, but they have not succumbed to that physical advantage. They've showcased so much better technique than what we've seen from them in the past couple of outings.
Rian Bernard looking pretty frustrated that he didn't win the penalty for all his efforts. Peter Killian rather, on the front, on the near side of the scrum. Probably want to bilk a penalty again. They've seen what Hong Kong did to Sri Lanka and will want to try and win some easy yards. And that's a brilliant bit of work from Rifan, who pointed out Peter Killian, whose hip just completely shot out to the left. Nicely spotted by the referee.
This is brilliant. This is brilliant from the host nation, who are at a massive disadvantage when it comes to the physicality, but they're matching up to it. You don't see the props standing up, so they are taking in that pressure. So opportunity for Sri Lanka to really put pressure on this big lads, as Killian has been given his marching orders from the bench.
UAE on the right, please.
New Zealand Ambassador, the Honourable David Pine. That's Peter Killian. You see number 1 swinging his hip out. That's exactly what the referee saw, and without even Mohammad Rifan having to point it out to him.
Time back on, please. Let's go.
Ambassador Pine in conversation with Sri Lanka's Attorney General, President's Council, Mr. Parin the Ranasinger. Here's Sri Lanka still very much in the fight. Tenukanane Akkara, another high hit. Matt Mills managing to get the ball, and straight over the ball falls Gallant.
Croc roll there on the Sri Lankan juggler. He did not have right to the ball. The referee blowed saying get out of there, but the croc roll coming in, and Sri Lanka with a penalty. This is going to take a toll on these huge units of the UAE forwards, who have to keep tracking back, keep going back, and in the line out, Sri Lanka are putting pressure.
That's Sri Lanka's coach Rodney Gibbs on the left, and Director of Rugby and High Performance Intishan Marika, former Sri Lanka player. Looking on, they know it's a 1-point game. They know this is a crucial period of this match as well. Oh, that's an untidy win. Nicely done by Rian Bernard, but luckily for Sri Lanka, he drops it forward again. So made a change in the front row as well. We've got Epel Danetawalu coming on in the number 16 jersey.
So once again, line out unfortunately for Sri Lanka, just not working out.
Stay straight, don't step around. Stay straight, don't step around.
And fortunately for Sri Lanka, Bernard knocking it on. So great attacking platform here for Sri Lanka inside the 22.
Really got to send it through the hands, the Lankans. They'll be remembering that scintillating stride they scored against Hong Kong, against a much bigger, much better drilled team.
Left, don't play with the head. You've got enough head space there. Give you set one more time. Let's go. Set up, please. Left of the mark. Left of the mark. Okay, let's go. To head is.
Referee insisting on the break foot and giving pretty clear orders on the head position of Rian Bernard.
Some dark thoughts of the front rows being found out by the referee. That's something that you try to do. Put pressure on that hooker with the tight head and the hooker combining. But referee savvy to it.
Nicely done by Lasandu Ishan off the back, and that's a lovely inside ball. Straight through Adam Gowda, almost Akash Madhushan. Now it's available, but it spins away. Falls nicely.
No contact. Backwards.
Here's Rifan. Dilina Bandara is once again the first man there. He's the lightest player in the Sri Lankan pack. Once again, Matt Mills getting there and making an important tackle. Rifan. Again, lone charge by a Sri Lankan forward. Nizran. Brave charge, but this is where they need a little bit more. Again, you've got to ask now, there's been 3 or 4 penalties in a row. When is the referee going to have a word? And I think the answer is now.
Yes, well, right on the red zone.
Yes, and like you mentioned, Shanika, multiple penalties have been given away in the red zone as well by UAE.
You're all right. Good to go.
Love to see a substitution now, gentlemen, with Shahid Zumri coming on. Wow, this is confident. This is a big statement from the Sri Lankan team. We are going to take the scrum against a side which has an average weight of 115 kilograms per forward.
Well, this is a big insult to that forward unit of the UAE. If you were in there, you'll want to absolutely decimate this scrum, because that front five is equal to the entire 8 of the opposition, and they still go for a scrum. It's going to be an interesting one. Sri Lanka wanting to make sure not just take the lead, they are going in for the kill. They want to make sure that they really destroy this UAE outfit and take control of this game.
Well, you've got to take your hat off to Vimukthi Gamage on this near side here, the tight head prop of the Sri Lanka team, who has not taken a backward step in the face of some outstanding scrummaging from Devatavalu. It's out quickly. Lasindu Ishan manages to get the ball away, and they've managed to hold on. Akash Madhushan dancing through. Matt Mills dangerously close to giving away another penalty. Tilina Bandara. Well pilfered that time by Mills. The number 30 jersey has really made a nuisance of himself at the breakdown and has saved the day for his team. Well, that's beautifully taken by Sakyusu Naisau, but the referee calls them back because
Sri Lanka wants.
They do have the flag up for touch.
Substitution made. Malita Vijayasundar has been called to the bench, and the experienced Dushman Priyadarshana comes in. Interesting call by the forwards coach Dushyant Levke, who's gone for that experience, and Priyadarshan at this point in the game will be able to try and bring that control to the forwards.
This time Nizran wins it. It's been sacked. And again the penalty coming. They've got to go for points surely here. They've called for the penalty, but Sri Lanka surely need to take the lead. It was a really brave call to go for that scrum, Sudarshana, but I'm not sure under the post, don't you bank your 3 in tight games like this?
I agree. It was something that they wanted to do. They wanted to make sure that they ride on the momentum. They are in the red zone of the opposition team. It seems like Tarinder Ratwat this time has overcooked it. Rare error from Ratwat, especially when it comes to touch kicking. Beautifully collected by Nisar, but equally well sacked there.
Let's go, come up please, come.
Really got to think that that's 6 points that Sri Lanka have left on the park.
Push your shoulder out. Shoulder out.
Once again, pretty slow going. Everyone wanting to have a chat before the scrum. This is where Ratpatha needs to get in. The referees here, and the pack leader, Lasindu Ishan.
Fine. Set. Use it.
Good scrum that time.
It's always inside.
Not going for touch. Adam Gowda hasn't really had a lot of running to do. Dearly love to see a substitution being made, because that's the kind of footwork that Zumri and Zubair possess. Will really take some stopping for the UAE at the moment, and they've got some space now. They'll get it away to their dangerous wingers. Vola on this near side brought down, and Gowda looks like he might have done himself a little bit of an injury. Marcus Guerin thunders forward. First bit of continuity in the second half, this time for UAE, and what looks suspiciously like a forward pass ends up in touch.
There's some good continuity by UAE, who were looking to play the game in close quarters. First time in the game really that they look to spread it out wide. Watchful eyes of Director Rugby in Marika and Coach Gibbs, and seems like Pasidhu Bandara is under the pump here.
Yeah, let's take a water break now.
Yes, that was really good by UAE. They identified that one of the Sri Lankan players was down on that short side. Some really good cover defense, just saving the blushes of Sri Lanka. It looked pretty dangerous once Pasidhu went down. There was a lot of space on that short side. So we're taking another 1 minute break by the looks of it, as Pasidhu Bandara is being mended to.
Yeah, let's do the water break now because we got an injured player anyways.
Some anxious faces on the UAE bench. 22-21. 24 minutes and a bit left on the clock. Gowda says he's good to go. Pasidhu, who's on the floor, getting a bit of attention. 6 points, Sudarshana. Game management. 3 points for the taking under the sticks. We were flabbergasted when they went for the scrum. It was a brave call, but 3 points would see them 2 points in the lead.
Yes, points is the name of the game, which is why UAE took that penalty. Despite having that larger set of players, they wanted to make sure that they get the 3 points, get in front of Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka will be hoping that they have more opportunities, but you need to be able to make sure that you are in the correct part of the field.
Before I put the time back on, let's match the numbers.
It's a big line out here for Sri Lanka.
Hold the throws on it, hold.
Kaushan has been brilliant with his throw-ins today, and his general play has been pretty impressive.
No, time off. Okay, ready? Okay, good. Yeah, that's fine, got time, calm down. You're in or out?
Chris, count them.
Lots of talking in the line out, lots of counting in the line out.
You got 6. How they going, please?
Sri Lanka through Tilina Bandara in the front, nice and safe. Don't want to take any chances inside their 22.
3, 4, out!
Sri Lanka need to get this ball out. Lasindavisha ducking under one. Nizran, in fact.
Lost! Let's take him back to the 22.
Big thump. And dropped that time by Max Johnson, who was coming forward.
It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a real challenge because the sun is right in your eye when you try to catch that ball from this end of the field. Take a look at that. He's finding it difficult. Lost sight of the ball momentarily and then losing it forward versus Max Johnson.
Yes, it was pretty deliberate by Ratpat, isn't it? Probably you thought he'd go for touch, but he knew the discomfort the UAE fly half would be under if he gets enough height, and that's exactly how it turned out to be. And we do seem to have another stoppage. Should give a bit of breathing space.
If there's any man who can claim a bit of a rest, it's this guy. And on the left shoulder as well, Mumukti Gamage. He's been in the wars.
Okay,
it looks like Emosi Wesanaua is off the park. The physical threat that he poses has been replaced by the breakdown threat of Matt Mills, who's just been a terrier. Turned a few balls over for the UAE. to thwart a few promising Sri Lankan attacks.
Crouch. Bind.
Important centre field scrum. Sri Lanka will be desperate to make use of this good ball if they manage to get it. Brilliant scrum once again, holding it up. Tarindra Ratwatta, that time Semple holds him up. Gets his knee to the floor though, the skipper. Going straight through. Here's a little bit of space opening up for Akash Madhushan, but it's lost on the floor, and it's a brilliant turnover once again from UAE. Nicely taken. Holding on is a call from the referee. Let's see that one again.
Television match official checking foul play, so the referee will lose. I believe it was the high shot on Tarindra Ratwatte that they are taking a look at.
Please show the angles to the referee on broadcast, please. Craig, we're going to show you a high tackle by UAE.
Looks like there might have been head contact there as well. And let's wait and see if we can see another angle of that.
So I got an upright tackle. Just want to double confirm where does it hit.
Just want to slow that one down.
Shoulder right on the head of Ratwatte.
Degree of danger is low, but it's direct head contact, therefore yellow card. Do you agree?
Yeah, Craig, yellow card.
Yep.
Seems like UAE skipper Andrew Semple is going to go in for 10 minutes in the bin, and this is going to be crucial for Sri Lanka.
It's an upright tackle, low degree of danger, therefore it's a yellow card.
Oh, that's well interpreted by the referee. He saw the high tackle. TMO intervened and he saw that it wasn't a front-on contact. We want to see as many players on the park as possible, so let's see if we can watch that one again from the first angle.
Yes, I think what put Simpson in a bit of trouble was his body position was a bit upright. When you go upright into a tackle and you make contact, you always leave yourself open to scrutiny, and that's exactly what happened.
This time Ratwatte makes no mistake with the touch finder. And with one man down in the back line, Sri Lanka will be desperate to get this man with his hands on the ball. Here it is again.
UAE sub, please.
That's the shoulder to the head. Does give, so he's not going forward into the hit, which is why the referee ruled it was a low degree of danger, which I think every one of us would agree with.
Yes, I believe that time simply pulling out of that tackle when he knew that it was going to be a little high is what saved him from a red card, because it was direct contact to the head. Bandara collecting it for Sri Lanka.
Here's Ratwatte opting to go through one more time, brought down by Bradley James, and Rifan with a little kick, and it turned end on end. Oh, it just wobbles into touch. Nizran was chasing, but none of the wingers were around. Lack of communication. The space was there, but you have to think, Dina Lekanayaka, why weren't you running onto that ball?
Sri Lanka 4.
Lekanayaka was but a little too far away from it. That angle of Rifan, if it was a little too inside, that would have been better. UAE now looking to run from their own 22.
Really good rumble up that 22-meter line to get a little bit of space for the UAE.
Nope.
Here's Sam Bullock
inside 22
off the base. Sri Lanka pretty confident with their line out, those are not going for the quick ones. And once again, I'd really like to see Sri Lanka empty their bench. Sudarshana. Adam Gowda has been good, but he hasn't been tested, and it doesn't look like the UAE are going to test him either, so it's important to get a runner on.
Well, seems like Tenukonana Kara has been brought to the bench with Zubair Dure coming in to join the line, and that's a change that Sri Lanka would relish. Dure will take the number 15 position.
Lasin Divisha, this is not where they want to mix it with the UAE. They want to get a little wider. Little manipulation, and that's a forward pass called on the spot by the referee. Dinale Kanayaka just overran that one.
Yeah, it did look like it was going slightly forward. Tarindra Ratwat is slowing it down a little bit, but giving it forward. He knows it.
Yes, from the time it left the hand, isn't it? That's where the referee makes the call. And it looked like it left Ratwata's hands, and the movement was forward. As we have a look at that once again, a couple of decoy runners. Ratwata was trying to get it flat, but yes, just out of his hand, the ball moved forward. So referee was right on the mark to make that call. So just 1 point in it. We entered the final quarter of the game. This is where the substitutes could come into play. And another stoppage as well. Been the story of this game thus far. So Sri Lanka have made a substitution and a couple of positional changes as well. Tenukonana Kara has made way for Zubair Dore. He'll move to the full-back position with Tarinda moving to fly half and Adam Gowda moving to the outside centre position.
This man has been really good. Sakiasu Naisau. Sri Lanka will do well to keep the ball out of his hands, and the UAE will do even better to get it into his hands. Sri Lanka need to be smart. I think they realize that the UAE are fatiguing, but instead of taking them on up front, they've got to take them on wide. Well, the scrums have been
Bring your
a
feet
story,
closer,
haven't they?
both of you. So do you. Bring your feet closer, steady. Let's go.
I think the UAE would have looked over at the warm-ups and thought, we're going to walk over this scrum. But over the course of the 3 games, Sudarshana, the Sri Lankan scrum has really improved.
Well, just like what we saw at the New Zealand under-85 game, it's not the size but the technique, isn't it? If you see where Tarinda Chaturanga is binding in this game, right underneath that prop, it's giving that first row a lot of support and control.
No penalty. And ball is dropped, but that's where he's dangerous, is Sakiusa Naisau, and there he goes again. 3, 4, 5 players trying to bring him down, but he drags it towards the 50-meter line. Here's Devatavalu. Bullock looking for some willing runners now. Haven't really seen Jack Stepley in the play since his try, and that's some good work from Sri Lanka, but it looked like it might be a bad injury.
That doesn't look very good.
Separate first, let the medic come in.
Didn't look very well. That was
Give me some space first.
Dinale Kanayaka.
Some 3, yeah.
Also involved with that clash. Didn't look pretty at all.
Start. Just want to see any clear mitigation by tackler white 3. Okay.
Vivek Tikamagi is the one.
Checklist potential serious foul play against the tackler white 3.
So looking at Gamage's tackle.
"16 minutes remaining on the clock."
Here's the pass. That's the initial tackle that was made. And I think that was dynamic, wasn't it? Gamage coming in to smash him into touch. But it looked like the player was swiveling in the tackle of Dinale Kanayaka.
Can you get me one more angle? Is there any clear mitigation that you can show me?
That's the tackle that causes Jan Bots to spin, and he was falling into the tackle, which is what the referee has seen as clear mitigation.
So there will be a yellow card instead, right? Confirm that is Sri Lanka free. Yep. Okay. Captain and
Yes, there is clear mitigation, and I think that communication between the referee and TMO has been absolutely brilliant at that point. Shanika, before the second replay, referee requesting.
The mitigation, the UAE player is dropping height, therefore it's a yellow card. Okay, yellow card. Clearly dropping height.
Very clear communication with the referee and the TMO, managing to make that
mostly you guys are steady
decision.
To start, and then the boys at the back, you guys are not driving forward. I asked you to use it, and then that's the time the scrum go loose.
Okay, so we need to stay in?
You need to stay in earlier until I feel like once you get stopped, then I can't give you, okay?
Just out of sheer curiosity, sir, do you have the timing on our yellow card?
Let me double check for that, please. Okay, and can I double confirm the UAE player got no concussion, so he can play? Okay.
I'm just going to
Okay, no problem. So I will let him play. Okay, double check, please. Yep, stay.
They're having a look to see whether Jan Bots is free of any kind of head trauma. Vibhakta Gamage did manage to hit him pretty hard, even though it was mitigation in his favor. So only a yellow card instead of a red.
Gamage with a bit of bleeding as well for his trouble. We'll have to spend 10 minutes in the bin.
So much.
Well, interestingly, Shanake was the physio of UAE who wanted another look at the player. Being the physio, he knows of the conditioning of these lads. Wanted that extra couple of minutes for them to take in a couple of big ones. Seems like Dilshan Jaya, I beg your pardon, Amjad Faumi has been brought in.
And Shahid Zumri also coming in to the Sri Lanka backline. Beautifully done there by the Sri Lankans. And now it's been taken back, so Ratpatha can't kick it out in the full, but the new speedsters on the park might have a thing or two to say about this for the Lankans. And Naisau will thump this into touch. Beautifully done there by the Sri Lankans. Here's Murshid Zubair with his first touch. Lasindu Ishan wants some help. Matt Mills gets in there. Sri Lanka do well to retrieve that ball. And here's Tarindu Chaturanga. Oh, and it's just too low a pass for Lasindu Ishan. For Akash Madhushan rather. And if that pass had stuck, who knows what would have happened.
Yeah, Shahid Zumri in that brand new white looking jersey was licking his fingers. Take a look at this. Tarindu Chaturanga taking two men, and that stray arm of Vola Vola had stuck that ball. That would have been a penalty all day. But 21-22, 14 minutes remaining on a clock. Chaturanga has been given his marching orders.
Well, that would have been a really difficult call to make for the swap. Who would they make? Who would they switch out? Lasindu Ishan has been going really well, and Nisran Nila is a line-out option. But I still don't know whether they've made the right call. I would probably have taken Nila off there. And since Sirina Bandara has been going well in the line-out, Chatra Soisa is already on. Sorry, Nila is off.
Interesting one, Sri Lanka opting to go with 7 against 8. You can match them up here because UAE does not have to reduce a player, so you need to, ideally would have liked to have another player, but looking at the Sri Lankan backs, there is not much of muscle they can add.
Brilliant scrum by the Sri Lankans. They're still milking the penalty, and that's what they've got finally. Kicking the ball straight into the back of his own player, Jack Stepley and Max Johnson, having a bit of an argument as to who should have gotten out of the way there, but this is where the Sri Lankan scrum will start to waver without Vimukti Gamage. And now that he's come off, you can see what an important part he was of that scrum.
Absolute brilliant workhorse for Vimukti Gamage. Was terrific in that number 3 jersey.
Just wonder whether Sri Lanka missed the trick there by not getting a 3/4 into the scrum just to give a bit of support. It's 14 on 14 as well, so they wouldn't have lost anything out wide. Nonetheless, Sri Lanka under a bit of pressure. Line out right on the 22.
All right, time back on, please.
Sri Lanka spoiling work today at line out time has been brilliant. Hoping for another big effort by Bandara, but this time cleanly collected, and it's been knocked on. So UAE winning the ball cleanly, but unfortunately
They're outside of the 22.
knocking it on. The transfer to the back of that maul was not as clean as they would have liked. The ball just popped out of
Show your weight until the ball is in, and both sides going forward. Okay, let's go.
The lifter, or rather the person who recovered the ball from the line out. So fortunate for Sri Lanka. Will Sri Lanka run it from here, or will they look to go for territory?
Still going 7 against 8 Sri Lanka. Not that they have the weight advantage.
Fine.
Rifan to feed. And that's a brilliant scrum by the UAE, and that's where they're going to finally show their dominance. Lasinder Vishar not happy, really not happy about something, and the referee calling the medics on pretty quickly as well, but that was a gigantic scrum.
Make sure the time is off, please.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see the option they will take. There have been times in this game when UAE have decided to go to the post,
injury, so I need to wait.
and we have yet another stoppage. So bit of a breather for everyone as we have a look at that scrum once again. And what was interesting this time, Shanaka, was that it was UAE who had 7 players in the scrum, isn't it? But yet they managed to overpower Sri Lanka's 8. And looks like UAE have opted for another scrum. So an opportunity for the Sri Lankan pack to make amends.
Keep it straight and flat. Okay, tip the head. Keep it straight and flat.
Well, this is going to be another really important scrum.
Both sides forward, not only one.
UAE, I would have thought, may have gone for points here, just to get themselves out into a bit of a lead.
Get a shoulder out, I get a shoulder out.
4 points instead of just the 1. But they're confident of their scrum.
Crouch.
And Sri Lanka once again opting to go in with 7 men.
Fine. Set.
Still scrumming for a penalty. Here's Bullock. They've got the penalty advantage coming. Coming off that left wing was Naisau. Bullock again sniping around the corner, and that's been knocked forward, but they'll come all the way back for the penalty. Vola Vola wants to take it quickly. The ball hasn't really made its way to the dangerous wingers of the UAE. The 2 Emirati wingers, Sakiusa Naisau and Nico Vola Vola, have been really dangerous with ball in hand, and they'd want a little bit more of it.
Captain.
The UAE wingers.
Captain, we want scrum court.
Yes, it's pretty obvious what UAE are trying to do by opting for the scrum, isn't it? They're trying to apply pressure, get another penalty and probably win a yellow card because this is the third consecutive scrum they have taken, and you can see the referee having a chat with the Sri Lankan front row, so they're on notice.
Same penalty twice on the same prop. That's Faumi. He needs to stay straight, and he needs to make sure that he doesn't turn under pressure.
Well, they've desperately got to get a number 8 in there, Sudarshana, just to make sure that those 2 second rows shove straight. Can't believe this call is not being made from the bench, especially with 2 penalties. Ball is available, so referee says play on. Bullock puts a little kick through. That's a lovely kick as well, and wonderfully done by Jack Stepley. That time he gets his second, scored the first, and this is going to be the final try for UAE. And is this going to be the nail in the coffin for Sri Lanka?
No try. Okay, and then we check.
Interesting call. On field, it's a no try.
On this
call.
There's no try. There's no clear grounding.
No clear grounding by Stepley is the call from the assistant referee.
Yeah, no try.
This angle will tell us. Lovely little kick through from Bullock. Don't see any problem with that. Saw it first.
Just
and
rewind to show me that the UAE player is onside from the kick, please.
Can I confirm that it's a grab, right?
now they're checking. Once they've seen the grounding, they're just checking to see that Stepley was onside before the kick went through. And it looks like he was. No VAR here, of course.
Right, you have a decision?
Yeah.
You may award the try.
Well, I think justice.
The kick is onside and he grounded the ball. Okay.
The process has been followed and the try is scored. So Jack Stepley gets his 5-pointer and Max Johnson will step up to make it 7.
27-21 in favor of UAE, and their persistence on making sure that they capitalize on Sri Lanka's mistakes have really paid dividends.
Yes, and once again, so have a look at the conversion, no problem whatsoever. So UAE extend their lead to 29 points to 21. It's just that scrum coming back to haunt Sri Lanka.
No penalty, I didn't play advantage, and the ball player
3 consecutive penalties, and dare I say, if that try had not been conceded, probably Sri Lanka would have lost another player to the bin as well. So UAE now with an 8-point lead, so Sri Lanka 2 scores behind.
Liam Colwell has been brought into the attack as well. Good high-hanging kick, not collected cleanly for the first time. Here's Colwell with his first touch, looking to run. Eagerly defenders by the Lankan defenders. Bullock to the big Mathers, rummaging in for UAE. Gurin. Bullock with ball at the back now. Ball still in play. Dore collects it cleanly.
Really well done by Murshid Zubair there in the replacement fullback position. Devatavalu has really created havoc in the front row and in the loose since he came on. Faumi makes it available. Murshid Zubair once again trying to keep that short ball going through. There's a little bit of close quarter stuff. Bradley James asked to release it, which he does, but it's slow ball for Sri Lanka. Nicely read that time again. Dore manages to make it available. and a lovely ball over the top for Zumri. Zumri stepping, Zumri is through. Zumri caught by Naisau. Reaching straight over the top of that. The ruck seemed to have formed, but referee saying it hadn't formed enough for a penalty to be considered. Dinaleka Naika. Lovely hit that time by Liam Caldwell, who's on there making an important tackle.
Use it.
Tilina Bandara still going. Matt Mills with the hit. Tarindra Atwata pushing this one behind. And that's going to be touch and goal, is it? Yes, it is. Another kicking error for Sri Lanka, forcing them all the way back. Can see what he was trying to do, just to get Shahid Zumri to run onto that one, and now the anxious faces have turned into smiles on the UAE bench.
Yeah, there was an opportunity for 50-22 as well on Tarindra Atwata. 2 penalties turned away by Sri Lanka. First one opting to go for a scrum right in the middle of the post. Second one, they opted to go to touch Tarindra Atwata, overcooking that. This is what Chanaka has been calling for a while. The nippy feet of Shahid Zumri needed to show clear release there. Interestingly, no penalty came in the way of Sri Lanka. There was hands on the ground as well, not supporting his body weight. So opportunity now for UAE yet again to get their scrummaging prowess. I'd still like Sri Lanka to get 7 men on here. 8 men on. Seems like they've been restored to their original number. 8 against 8 here.
Set up before I put the time back on, please. Let's go.
Well, the time has come on for the umpteenth time in this game. It'll be interesting to see the ball in play statistics and the actual running time and playing time in this match. UAE have been very shrewd in how they have manipulated. This big pack allowed them to get their breath back when they needed it and just ground Sri Lanka to a halt when they were threatening in this match. Big bust up the middle once again from James Crossley. We haven't seen much of him in this game. Not with the ball in hand, at least.
Use it.
And now they're going to just manage this game by thumping it up, milking the penalty, and using these big forwards who would love to do the one-out running. Sri Lanka need to get over the ball and try to win it back, but that will be difficult against this big forward pack. They've got to take it quickly. Rifan does exactly that. Straight through the middle he goes. Rifan needs the support. Oh, that was beautifully done, but surely that's cynical.
Wait,
And surely.
When it comes to the gate, you're always on the player. Swing across.
Been pretty lucky not to concede more yellow cards than they have, UAE.
Mohammad Rifan, beautiful counter, and Mohammad Rifan quickly taking it. Now opportunity for Sri Lanka. Line out has been their strong set piece suit in this game. They need to make sure that they hit this one. Make sure that they make absolute no mistake, because the clock is running down.
Rifan with that little head fake, doing really well to get back that time, was Max Johnson. In fact, it's Sam Bullock, but that was a cynical penalty, if there ever was one, never released, and it's all over the ball. And once again, another stoppage in this game. Referee has been fantastically lenient, you have to say, in allowing the water on and off.
Seems like this time around it's a Sri Lankan player who's been stretchered off.
17.
Tarinder Ratwate having a word with his fellow backs.
Primesh Danushka is the man who comes on with Vimukti Gamage back from the bin, and you have to think that was the moment in which the whole game changed, didn't it, Sudarshan? At the time that Vimukti Gamage went to the bin for that tackle, really has changed the entire complexion on the game. And if you wonder why front row forwards cost so much money in the world game, that's why.
Absolutely, because these are the men who really put their body on the line, and Vimukti Gamage has been absolutely terrific going. Lastukaranathalika getting in the ear of the referee, telling him, you need to keep an eye on the opposition number attacking me.
Well, that's a shame to see. Never like to see anyone getting stretchered off. Sri Lankan Racecourse Grandstand clapping off the player. I'll tell you who it was in a moment. Time is back on. And Chatra Soisa wins this one for Sri Lanka. Primesh Danushka goes in there, and Devatavalu once again really dragging that one back. Akash Madhushan steps into the field of play. Big hit on him by Matt Mills. Again, James Bradley tries to hack that one forward.
No advantage, no count to start.
Primesh Danushka being introduced, and the first pass that came out there, I thought first time the ball was out, Chanakya would have been sent out, because it's the backs of the Sri Lankans who have the superiority with the forwards. It's always going to be a difficult one, but Sri Lanka still with the scrum, but the clock is running down. Remember, Sri Lanka will have to score twice in order to get in front of this UAE side.
Well, the interesting thing is the Sri Lankan forwards have got some confidence. They've decided, okay, we can compete with this big UAE pack, but I think they're maybe trying a little bit too much, too hard up front, and they really need to get some good first phase tries, give some strike plays to the backs. It's worked before. Somehow they haven't been able to bring Pasindu Bandara or any of the other men like Zumri and Dore into the game.
It's like I mentioned, against a much larger opposition against Hong Kong. That's what got them the score. So they need to try and resort back to their strengths, Sri Lanka. Ball at the back for Karunatilaka.
Akash Madhushan, it's a terrible pass, and Tarinder Ratwate has no option but to spill that one forward.
It's on your own player.
Bullock passes it back to Johnson, who will thump this one into the nether regions, and Zumri manages to get the ball away beautifully to Murshid Zubair, who gives it to Dinale Kanayaka, just the men we've been talking about. Beautifully done that time by James Crossley.
No hands, wait!
Sri Lanka, that looked like it might have been a flat pass. Bullock will want to keep this ball with them at all costs. Devatavalu straight over the top, beautifully done once again. Superb work from Primesh Danushka. He's got to tap this quickly and run. His first penalty win, his first contribution in the Sri Lanka shirt.
30 seconds for the half. You've still got time for line out if you want.
Tarinder Ratwate putting this one to boot, gets play inside 22 meters. Sri Lanka short of 8 minutes, 8 points rather.
Well, it's been the last play. They'll play the line out, and that'll be the end of the game. We have to ask a couple of decisions from Sri Lanka earlier on. And what might have happened, Vimukti Gamage's yellow card changing the entire complexion of the game. And UAE have done well to tough this one out.
5 UAE.
They've used all the
Let's go, please.
tricks in the book to make sure that this big set of forwards
Let's go.
managed to last the 80 minutes. As well to stay in play.
No.
Oh, and that's spilled, and that's the game.
It's the crop.
Looks like we'll have time for another scrum.
Well, interestingly, I do not agree with the decision making in that final line out. Shanaka right in front of that big unit. Do you want your hooker to be isolated like that, when, especially when your line out was working time after time after time?
Jacques Bernard and Aaron Perisco just giving each other a pat of relief. This game has not been an easy one for the United Arab Emirates. And the early salvo of tries that they got in have stood them in good stead. Jack Stepley with the first and final scores for UAE have done the job.
Use it.
And Bullock will thump this one into touch, in towards the sports ministry, as the UAE coaches hug each other more in relief than anything else. And the smattering of UAE supporters running onto the field, but Sri Lanka will feel that this was a game they could have won.
Yes, as you can see, jubilant scenes from the UAE supporters, or at least one of them who has made his way onto the ground. They will now make it to the next stage of the qualifying process, while Sri Lanka will ponder what could have been. But I think on the whole, it's a wonderful learning experience, not just for the players, but for the administrators as well, what it will take to compete at this top tier level of Asian rugby. The two home games, Sri Lanka definitely have not embarrassed themselves, but we realize that there are certain areas which they cannot compromise on if they are to continue to be competitive in this top tier.
You have to really doff your hat to the players, don't you, Abdullah, because they've come so close despite the lack of preparation that they've had compared to the preparation that the UAE, South Korea and certainly Hong Kong have had in the lead up to this game. Could see that the UAE have played sides like Germany and Kenya, got a lot more match practice. And even though we understand what it takes to go up to this level, you also have to say that the Sri Lankan team with very little preparation have shown just how much talent and how much skill and how much expertise there is at their resources in Sri Lanka.
Yes, and let's not forget the heart they have shown as well, isn't it, Shanaka? Never easy to take on players who are on some occasions twice your size, but they've definitely put their body on the line. But there's only just so much you can take, is it? And eventually UAE prevailing. It's the second consecutive time they've ended as runners-up. Last year getting the better of South Korea as well. So Sri Lanka would be just looking back to what could have been, but congratulations to UAE.
Brilliant game management at the depth of the game by UAE, managing to make sure that they control the game and to hold on to it. And like you two gentlemen mentioned, Sri Lanka commiserations, but they will walk away with their heads held up high in a lot of pride. They've represented the country very well. Some of those decision making in crunch time. Rugby is always a game of points. You need to make sure that you take points when it's on offer, and especially when it's right in front of the post. You absolutely need to bang it on. Full-time confirmation, 21 points to 29. UAE getting the big win.
Yes, well, you're talking about making those crucial decisions, but it will come only by playing more games at this level. As we have a look at the highlights of this game.
Shamika Kaushan diving over for a bit of brilliance from the Sri Lankan skipper, spotting that gap. Kaushan calling for it, and this was the game. This was the moment that really changed the game. And a yellow card for Vimukti Gamage. He will look back at that and say, maybe I was low enough, but Jack Stepley didn't need to turn. He was onside. They checked everything and awarded the try. And Max Johnson with the conversion put the UAE into a lead that would not be assailed. 4 tries to 2 and 3 conversions, 3 penalties for Sri Lanka. It may have been 5, but 29 points to 21 is how it finishes at the end of the day. A game that really went down to the wire, and a couple of moments in it that had an effect on the entire game, the result of the entire game as well. UAE will be mightily relieved that they won this one. They desperately needed to win it to make sure they came into second position, and that was where they wanted to end up at the start of this competition, and they've achieved their goal.
Yeah, you will be mightily pleased, and they've given themselves an opportunity to try and go for that qualification, the repechage game with the runners-up of the African competition. And if they can win that one, they will go in, enter a competition where they will have to match up against some of the teams from the Asia Pacific.
And let's not forget the fact that they managed so that could prove crucial to them, but that's provided South Korea managed to create a huge upset against Hong Kong, game that will be played tomorrow in Korea. But as it stands, UAE stand with the best possible chance of making it as the second seeded team to make it to that next round of World Cup qualification.
You got to go, when you keep looking at these key stats, you got to keep coming back to those 3 points that UAE took, isn't it? The penalty that UAE took, which was from 40 meters out, despite having the more physically dominant team. They opted to take the 3 points, get in front of Sri Lanka. But at the latter part of the game, when they got penalty after penalty, they opted to go for a scrum, because that's when they knew that they could try and penetrate the Sri Lankan forwards with the miss of Vimukti Gamage. This is the experience that comes in with the preparation, and experience that comes in with playing with other teams who compete in a global scale.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the coming on to the park of Epel Davetavalu and Monite Gallant and Waddington as well, that really changed the dynamic of those front rows. And when Vimukti Gamage went off, I think they realized, okay, now we can really dominate the scrum. And they sent that message back to the captain, who kept asking for those scrums, and that's where the entire game changed. And hats off to the UAE for being really smart about that, Sudarshana. They knew where their strengths lay, and they knew how to exploit that as well. They slowed the game down almost to a crawling pace at one point. They managed to really milk every second out of it, and every drop of water that they could get on board out of it as well. And they really have played an outstanding game. It wasn't a pretty game, but an outstanding game to come out winners in a real arm wrestle here at the Racecourse Grounds.
Yeah, you would not believe there was sun which was burning down, because now it looks absolutely brilliant for rugby. But Sri Lankan team, while being disappointed with the 2 results that they had at home, they'll be encouraged at the fact that despite the lack of preparation, despite this side and the coaching staff only being together for 3 weeks or 2 weeks prior to the competition, they've dished out a brilliant performance throughout the game, keeping aside that Hong Kong game, which they had to come up against a team that will eventually go play in that World Cup.
Yes, and also just having a look at the man of the match for today's game, presented by Asanga Seniviratna, Director Tournaments of Asia Rugby. It's awaiting the man of the match for today's game to take his award.
Well, no surprises, isn't it, Abdullah, that the UAE player took a while getting there. They've been walking to every scrum, but this man hasn't. Sakiusa Naisau, who really set the field alight the few times that he got the ball, and he was one of the most dangerous players on the pitch for the UAE, that is for sure, and deservedly picking up his man of the match award.
Yes, so
we'll have a word. We'll cross over to the
of our family and friends back at home. Without them, their support and their prayers, we couldn't have been here. And we're looking forward to our journey ahead.
All right, congratulations once again. See you around.
Sakiusa Naisau, a proud Emirati there.
We'll now have a chat with the UAE skipper.
Obviously with the victory, started very well, and then kind of let things slip as the game went on, or ebbed and flowed. Probably not overall happy with our overall performance, bit under par, but just happy that we've came away with the win and we move on in the tournament, yeah.
All right, so at one point in the game, you guys were 20 and 21. At that point, what was going through your head?
Yeah, I think, as I say, it ebbed and flowed, and we kind of lost a bit of focus, lost a bit of set piece. And for us, it was just about resetting and going back to what we knew we were good at, was carrying ball, getting back to set piece, getting back to a scrum, and winning a bit of line-up ball again, and just getting back on the front foot. Like, fair play to Sri Lanka, they stayed in the game the whole time, even though if we got a little bit ahead, they kept fighting back, and credit to them as well, and we were just able to come away with it in the end.
All right, thank you very much.
Andrew Semple very happy with the result, of course, finishing second, the UAE. And now to Tharinder Ratwatta, the Sri Lankan captain. It's been a tournament of so close yet so far for him and his lads. Still waiting for the Sri Lankan team captain to the presentation area. Must be absolutely gutted, Abdullah, at the results that they've had, especially at the racecourse, so close.
Yeah, absolutely. The ones that you lose by small margins are the one that hurts the most. So will be definitely disappointed, but there are also a lot of learnings that they will take into this season at Chanaka. They will realize what is required if they are to continue to compete at this top level of Asian rugby. One pretty obvious area is they need to sort out the scrum. But through the process, or rather through this tournament, we've seen small improvements in that area, but still a fair way to go. And we'll now go in for the interview with the Sri Lankan skipper.
All right, and we have Tharinder Ratwatta, the captain of the Sri Lanka team. Tharinder, tough day at the office for you and the lads. How are you right now?
Similar to last time, a bit disappointed, but the boys I'm extremely proud of the boys for their effort. This tournament hasn't been easy. First time in a while that we're playing against such opposition. Must congratulate the UAE boys for a good performance and coming up on top. But just have to say, huge up, and I'm really proud of the boys for the effort that they put in today.
Right, so there was a moment in the game where the scores were at 20 and 21. Was there ever a moment that you thought that the game would turn in your favor?
Of course, that was what we were hoping for, but a few tactical errors on my part, and certain things I could have done differently for sure, certain decisions. But that's the game. You take certain gambles depending on the situation, and it didn't pay off for us, unfortunately.
Right. I mean, you guys played here in Sri Lanka, Colombo, and any words for the fans who supported you until the end right here?
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, I can't put it into words how thankful and grateful we are as a team, for all the support. Our sponsors, thank you so much for, stepping up and supporting us. Hopefully we'll have your support in the future as well, and just a huge thank you. And that, I can't put it into words how grateful we are.
Thank you very much, Larinda.
Lovely touch by Ratwatta there, thanking the Sri Lankan supporters who have come out to support their team, not just at the racecourse but also in Hong Kong. Saw a few Sri Lankan flags flying. And this is the next game that we have on this Asia Rugby Emirates Men's Championship. South Korea hosting Hong Kong, who have been a class apart, you have to say, in this tournament. The other teams have been very close, neck and neck almost for third place. And Japan, of course, way up there in the stratosphere of Tier 1 nations. But Hong Kong will be the proud representative of Asia in the Rugby World Cup 2027, unless there is a huge upset by South Korea. Well, that's tomorrow's game. Don't forget to join the Asia Rugby broadcast of that as well. Thanks very much for joining us here on the final match weekend of the Asian Rugby Men's Championship. The United Arab Emirates walking out winners in this one, and Sri Lanka finishing in 4th place in the championship. UAE finishing 2nd for the moment. We'll see what happens to that leaderboard tomorrow when South Korea take on Hong Kong. But until next time, it's goodbye from Abdullah Yusuf, Sudarshana Piris and myself, Shanika Amarasinghe from Colombo.
#1 betting site. Get in on the action. Unleash your winning streak. Visit sdbet.com today.
Boss, you're the one who lifted this company to where it is today, ne? Your work is so well organized and your capability really shines through it.
While you're working hard to earn your yearly bonus, save money with Commercial Bank's Power Bonus. Open an account with just 5,000 rupees and earn bonus interest every 3 months straight.
Love rugby.
Live rugby.
Prima Kutumi Fun Tamai.
Sri Lanka's #1 betting site. Get in on the action. Unleash your winning streak. Visit sdbet.com today.
මොකද්ද මේ? මේ අපේ කිරි රටම පෝෂණය කරන කතාවනේ. මේ සුද්දිද? ඔව් මේ අපි අපේ සුද්දිගෙන් කිරි දවනවා. ඊට පස්සේ කිරි බවුසරේ ගමක් ගාන කින් කිරි එකතු කරනවා. ඒ තමයි කොට්මනේ ෆැක්ටරි කිරි බටර් චීස් යෝගට් අයිස්ක්‍රීම් එහෙම හදන විදිය. මේ රටේම අය ඒවා කන මොන හැටි?
අපේ රටේ කිරිවලින් හදන පෝෂණය පිරි අපේම කොත්මලේ අපේ රටේ පෝෂණය.
Sri Lanka's #1 betting site. Get in on the action. Unleash your winning streak. Visit sdbet.com today.
Boss, I got you some homemade milk toffee. Shall I bring it now? You know, no matter what others say, you are really important to us. I have never seen anyone care about the company as much as you do.
While you're working hard to earn your yearly bonus, save money with Commercial Bank's Power Bonus. Open an account with just 5,000 rupees and earn bonus interest every 3 months straight.
Cricket, horse racing, football ඇතුළු තවත් ක්‍රීඩා රැසක්. stbet.com ලංකාවේ අංක 1 betting site එක. වැඩියෙන් play කරන්න, වැඩියෙන් win කරන්න.
මේ මොකද්ද මේ? මේ අපේ කිරි රටම පෝෂණය කරන කතාවනේ. මේ සුද්දිද? ඔව් මේ අපි අපේ සුද්දිගෙන් කිරි දවනවා. ඊට පස්සේ කිරි බවුසරේ ගමක් ගාන කින් කිරි එකතු කරනවා. ඒ තමයි කොට්මනේ ෆැක්ටරි කිරි බටර් චීස් යෝගට් අයිස්ක්‍රීම් එහෙම හදන විදිය. මේ රටේම අය ඒවා කන මොන හැටි?
අපේ රටේ කිරිවලින් හදන පෝෂණය පිරි අපේම කොත්මලේ අපේ රටේ පෝෂණය.
Cricket, horse racing, football ඇතුළු තවත් ක්‍රීඩා රැසක්. stbet.com ලංකාවේ අංක 1 betting site එක. වැඩියෙන් play කරන්න, වැඩියෙන් win කරන්න.
Boss, I got you some homemade milk toffee. Shall I bring it now? You know, no matter what others say, you are really important to us. I have never seen anyone care about the company as much as you do.
While you're working hard to earn your yearly bonus, save money with Commercial Bank's Power Bonus. Open an account with just 5,000 rupees and earn bonus interest every 3 months straight.
Cricket, horse racing, football ඇතුළු තවත් ක්‍රීඩා රැසක්. stbet.com ලංකාවේ අංක 1 betting site එක. වැඩියෙන් play කරන්න, වැඩියෙන් win කරන්න.
මේ මොකද්ද මේ? මේ අපේ කිරි රටම පෝෂණය කරන කතාවනේ. මේ සුද්දිද? ඔව් මේ අපි අපේ සුද්දිගෙන් කිරි දවනවා. ඊට පස්සේ කිරි බවුසරේ ගමක් ගාන කින් කිරි එකතු කරනවා. ඒ තමයි කොට්මනේ ෆැක්ටරි කිරි බටර් චීස් යෝගට් අයිස්ක්‍රීම් එහෙම හදන විදිය. මේ රටේම අය ඒවා කන මොන හැටි?
අපේ රටේ කිරිවලින් හදන පෝෂණය පිරි අපේම කොත්මලේ අපේ රටේ පෝෂණය.